Hello, everybody. How are you doing? It's us here at Who's Views. It's Friday. It's the 20th of February, 2026. How are you? It's good to see you. Well, thank you for joining us this Friday evening. As you can see, I'm here with Paul. And this is something a little bit different for you this evening here on Who's Views, because this is a chat, just a very general chit chat, everybody, like our chit chat series, where you can ask me questions about my leukemia, which of course you will all know here on Who's Views. I was diagnosed with leukemia last August in 2025. And I just wanted to come onto the channel and just talk about that. And I was speaking to the guys, speaking to Paul and Ian and Kirsty and Phil and everybody, and just saying, what do you think? And they said, yeah, that's a great idea. And it's just a way of actually a bit of therapy for me, Paul, to talk about it. But also, it's a case of like every single day, somebody is diagnosed with some form of cancer. And it's a case of you don't know how to deal with it. It just hits you. So we're going to go through all that, how I dealt with it. We're going to go through what happened, where I went to, what's happening now. And yeah, that's basically it. So if you have any questions, if you have anything you want to say, please put it into the chat. It's great to see you all coming into the chat. So thank you very much. And yeah, a little bit different for us, Paul, eh?
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember you telling me the news, and I remember that's why I put in my head in the 5th of August. What a shock! Because I was
Bless
doing I was doing the fringe at the time. I checked back my messages today for just to remember when that date was, and I mean, I don't know how you felt because I was shocked on your behalf, but you must have been gutted when you heard the news because that must be an awful thing to hear. Because I remember you were complaining about not being very well,
That's
and
right.
I didn't expect that as your diagnosis when you told me. I was really shocked, and you must have been as well. How did you feel, really? What can I
Oh,
say?
gosh. Yeah, it's a good question. I'm just going through everybody here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's great to see you. Really appreciate it. Yeah, how did I feel? I mean, what happened, Who Views, as well as Paul will be able to tell you, is I hadn't been feeling myself for quite some time, and I'm talking months. It was around about Graham. Thank you, Graham. Such a brave and thoughtful thing to do, JT says Graham. Thank you, Graham. Thank you. And Lex is with us as well, saying, been praying for you at this time. God bless, Lex. Appreciate that, Lex. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah, I hadn't been feeling well, Who Viewers, for months. And I would, at the end of each show, I would moan at the guys saying, oh, I feel, ugh. And I was having terrible problems with my legs. There were pains in my legs. And I thought it was cramp. For months, I thought it was cramp. So I was going to the gym and exercising like the Wrath of Khan, basically. You know, going, oh my God, I'm trying to get this feeling out of my leg. And I can't quite describe what the feeling was. It was like a cramp, I suppose, but slightly more subtle. You know, when you get a cramp, it's intense, isn't it?
Yeah.
And bang, bang, bang. But this was with me for quite a while and not as intense. And it was there, you know, and it was there. So I would go to the gym and work out and work on the legs. And, you know, it worked to an extent. There was one night, though, Who Viewers, where I thought I was actually going to die because it was late at night and I was in bed and I woke up in absolute pain. I was crying before I woke up, and it was absolutely intense. My whole body was pinned to the mattress, and that's when I thought, everybody, this is me. I'm dying. I'm out. You know, I'm going. I can't describe to you what was happening. And I was pinned there, couldn't move, in absolute agony, and all sorts of things go through your head, obviously. And so what happened after that, of course, is I was going to doctors. I was going to my local GPs, and I was saying to them, something's wrong. I'm not feeling well. And they did certain things. They would take tests. They were sending me for x-rays on my legs after this incident. They also sent me for physiotherapy on my legs. And while I'm in physiotherapy, that's when I realized, well, I thought, no, this is wrong. This isn't me. This isn't what I need. This is not the right thing. So that was going on. So anyway, it was a real case there of, well, what happens next? And there's a message here for Smiley People for you, Paul. Oh, bless you, Paul. It's a horrible thing to happen. I was flawed, but I got on. It was the fatigue that got me. Smiley People, the fatigue is intense, isn't it? And remind me through the show to talk about that, because I still get it to this day. I've had it today, actually. We'll talk about that if Paul reminds me. Listen, thank you, everybody in the chat, for all these messages that are coming through. So already, thank you. Really, really appreciate it. But yeah, so what was happening? I was at work one day. I don't know if you remember, Paul, but I was at work one day, and a colleague of mine said, "You've got a funny colour about you." Now, on this particular day, I'd almost fainted twice, and I'd nearly thrown up twice. So I went to my doctor after work. Obviously, I'd finished work and I went to the doctor's, and I said to the receptionist, "Something's wrong. Look at me. I need to see a doctor. I'm not well. Something's wrong." And in our country now, in the UK now, you have to sort of book in, don't you? But a doctor.
Well, you have to get past the receptionist first, which is always a trial.
Yeah. But I think she saw that there was definitely something going on with me. You know. Legion of James, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And I've just seen this message from Jabe as well. Jabe Lanchester, it's lovely to see you. Thank you so much for talking about this, JT. And on a lighter note, you really suit a shirt. Thank you, darling. Do you like it? I realized the other day, Paul, that this particular shirt I bought before I got ill, and I've never worn it. So I thought, damn it, I'm wearing it tonight.
Well, it's kind of a special occasion, let's be honest, isn't it? Let's be honest.
And also, because the Who's View shirt is in the wash. So there we go, you know. Thank you, Matt Enspiel. Thank you for that. It's great to see you all. Thank you. Problem being in there as well. Thank you, mate. So where was I? Yes, so anyway, the doctor saw me and she took a blood sample for me. Now that was on, that was been the Thursday, I think that was been the Thursday, towards the end of July. And she phoned me after, actually it might have been the Wednesday. Anyway, she phoned me and she said, you got to go back. You've got to have more blood tests. I'm sending you to the hospital for it. And that would have been the Friday morning. And I thought, okay, not a problem. Like you do. I said, not a problem, not a problem. Now on Fridays, before I got ill, I would meet up with my mother and we would catch up and have a coffee, go for a coffee, you know. So I phoned my mum and said, I'll come and pick you up as normal tomorrow morning, Friday, but we've got to go to the hospital before we go and have a coffee. My mum's like, why? And I told her, oh yeah, fine, no problem. We'll go. So I picked my mum up on the Friday morning. We go to the hospital, okay. And I didn't think anything of this. So I parked the car in the hospital car park. That was lucky. You know what hospital car parks are like?
Oh, getting a space can be very hard, yeah.
You can never get in them, can you?
Yeah.
You just don't make them anyway. But anyway, either that or they charge for them. I'm very lucky at my local, they don't charge for you. But anyway, we went to this, and this very nice lady took blood from me and all this sort of stuff. And my mum and I are sitting there, and I'm waiting for whatever, some news or something now, you know. And I said to my mum, I'm going to ask what's going on, you know, and when we can go. And I said to her, when can we go? When can I go? And she said, oh, no, you're not going. And I went, pardon? She said, no, you've got to stay. We're keeping you in. And like that, my life changed. And that was me for 3 months in a hospital. Just that day. And, you know, how I felt at that particular point, Paul, I was like, why? What's happening? What do you mean I'm staying? And I have to tell you, Paul, who viewers, all my life, I've been worried and frightened of hospitals. You know, I've done everything I could, Paul, to keep out of them. I've been going to the gym. I've eaten healthily. I became vegetarian. I didn't smoke. I haven't drunk. You know, all the things they said were bad for you, I avoided.
Yeah. Well, if there's any consolation, I don't think Em was a fan of hospitals. I've had a few stints in hospital myself, not as serious as yours, but I have been, and I hate them. So, I mean, the people who are there are wonderful. They look after you, but the actual atmosphere there, I think, is quite can really make your spirits down and not be good for motivation. So being home is better, I think, once you're recovering. It's great. But at that point when you're there, can be quite depressing. And I'm sure your imagination was working overtime when you were
Oh,
there, because I'm pretty much the same. If I get any illness, I'm thinking, well, oh, it must be something really bad, you know. And I'm sure you must have been thinking, my God, what's going on? Were you
yeah.
panicking at that point? Were you really worried?
No, I didn't panic. Let me just look at this from Frankie Stanage in the chat. My girlfriend lost her father 2 years ago from his cancer. It came back after 8 years of the all clear. I did not know him too long, but God bless him. He served in Vietnam for the US Army. I miss him. Thanks for sharing that, Frankie. Thank you very, very, very much. And I'm sorry to hear that. And Funky is saying, is JT's mum still waiting for her coffee? She's watching tonight. So no, we've had plenty since.
You've made up for it. That's okay. You're not in trouble.
Yeah,
Then.
she
That's good.
certainly
Yeah.
was given some hospital coffee, a lot of hospital coffee and hospital cups of tea. And since being out on the road to recovery, we've been for coffee as well. And Bedweir's with us. Hello, mate. How are you? Bedweir's saying to us, was the car there for 3 months too? Thank goodness they didn't charge. Luckily, it wasn't, because what happened, Bedweir, is that was the Friday. And what happened, Paul, is when they told me you're not going anywhere, they wouldn't release me. They wouldn't let me out of the hospital, of course.
Mm.
So my mum, and I can't remember how she did this. I'm sure she didn't take my car, although she may have done. I can't remember, because this is the point where I start to go a little bit hazy, as I think shock and a sense of nervousness and I creep in, you know.
Yeah.
And my mum had to leave me in the hospital, and she had to go and get a bag for me, an overnight bag, or what we call an overnight bag. But, you know, she put loads of stuff in this bag for me, my toothbrush, my toothpaste, and pajamas, and change of clothes, and all this sort of stuff. And well, I'm going to share too much with you now. I don't own pajamas, so she had to go and buy me some, because I don't sleep in pajamas. So she had to go and get T-shirts and stuff like that, you know, God love her.
Well, you could have been. I know in some cases they have spare pajamas just in case. So you have like second-hand pajamas. You don't want that, you know.
No, and I saw some of the things. They have these things like you see in the Carry On films, these gown things which don't tie up at the back. So
yeah, they're not very flattering, are they?
No,
Let's be fair.
certainly not.
Yeah.
No, there might have been once upon a time when I had a figure as a younger man.
Possibly.
You know, possibly, but certainly not in the age I'm at now. Thank you, Marie UK. I hope you're all right, darling. It's nice to see you. Thank you so much. And problem being is there saying I loathe hospitals too. So far, I've been very lucky with avoiding them in terms of staying in them. Yeah, I mean, I had been up until then as well, PB, and this was what was getting me at the point that they're keeping me in. They're keeping me in. My greatest fear is now here. You know, it's arrived after all those years of being good and doing what I'm being told to. It's quite ironic, really, isn't it? You know.
And so, what I know I've kept saying this, but what were you thinking? What was going through your head when you were thinking, I'm in hospital now, they're keeping me in? So, what were you thinking? Sort of serious thoughts of what it could be, or were you trying not to worry about that? I mean, what was going through your head?
I think the biggest thing was a concern about the fact they were keeping me into somewhere I just was very frightened of being in.
Yeah.
And the other thing of, yes, absolutely, there was this thing of why are they keeping me and what's going on? And then do you know how you get this when you're given a shock as well? You think, why me?
Yeah.
That was starting to come in. What's happening here? What's happening here? You know, so but I don't think the real shock came in at that particular point, to be honest, Paul. I think at this particular point, I'm more concerned about, well, how long is this going to be? I've got shows.
You're thinking, oh my God, my car's in the car park. What's going to happen to my car?
Well, I have to say that was part
you were
of
probably
it.
thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen to the channel? I bet that's my first thing gave me your head. But it was.
Look, I've got work to do. I've got a channel to look after. We've got a show coming up soon. You know, all that was. This is the Friday. Headlines was coming up on the Sunday, so it was a real case of like, oh, what's happening? What's happening? Anyway, so my mum went and got all this stuff, and then when she came back, I'd been. I'd had a couple more tests, I seem to remember, and I was in this hospital room by this point, and still not taking it in, Paul. You know, it's still the reality of the situation still hadn't hit really. So I was there in my local hospital for 2 weeks, and there were lots of tests and lots of questions, and obviously meeting my consultant, meeting my consultants and the nurses and the doctors, all of which is a bit of a blur. I have to be honest. You know, it's a bit of a sort of, oh, goodness me. And it's through those two. I mean, I was so grateful because my mum and my sister came to see me every single day in the local hospital. And that was good. And my friends that are around about me here, they came to see me as well in this particular time. So it wasn't at that point, it wasn't a case of, oh, this isn't that bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because you hadn't had the diagnosis at that point, you were still
Exactly.
thinking about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Steve Braddock's in the chat saying, in JT, I thought I'd never end up in hospital. And then in 2011, I had a terrible accident and a part of a road sign embedded in my head and I nearly died. So you just have to live each day to the full. Stephen, never knew that. Oh my goodness, my friend. I'm so glad you're with us. And I know you well. I know you're okay, but wow, that's frightening. I know the feeling about hospitals, says Funky. I once went in once with a sore throat and ended up there for 3 weeks with an IV drip connected to me. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, goodness me. You know what I'm talking about then, guys, don't you? About the shock when they suddenly say you've got to stay in. So does Paul. And Mr. Steed is with us. You have a lot of friends here on Whose Views, and we're all with you 100%. I love it, and I know that. And thank you so much, John, and thank you everybody else. Appreciate it. But yes, but it was during this time at my local hospital, of course, Paul, where the diagnosis did come through.
Yeah.
And I sort of remember it. I was in the bed, the hospital bed. My mum and my sister was with me. I don't think anybody else was there, but definitely them. And they told me that I had leukemia, and it was Burkitt's leukemia. And it was a form of cancer. And that's all I heard. All I heard was leukemia and cancer. And the rest was noise.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think they ended up talking more to my mum and my sister by this point, because I don't remember what happened after that necessarily.
Well, when you get news like that, you kind of zone out a bit, don't you? You're kind of just, it's the shock that takes over, isn't it? And that's the horrible part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's certainly what happened to me, because I don't remember. And my mum will tell you, you know, I'm one of my nurses, Jane. Hi, Jane. One of my nurses locally. She, I don't remember meeting her, to be honest. But she remembers meeting me, and she said, you were zoned out. You weren't really with us. And
were you on any form of medication before the diagnosis? Like, because you're saying you were in pain with your legs and stuff. Did they get anything to sort of pain relief before you got the diagnosis?
No. Because it was only when I was in the local hospital, after undergoing tests and various scans and stuff like that, from what I can remember, that they diagnosed the leukemia.
Yeah.
And what happens to Whoviewers is, and some of you will know this, you get given literature in the hospital. You get given, and one of the books they gave me on Burkitt's leukemia was massive. It was really thick, and I remember trying to read it, and I only got so far, and I couldn't read. You know, because my energy was dropping, because they'd actually said they talked about platelets, Paul.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know what platelet was, Whoviewers, until all this. I'd not heard of the word. I had to ask what a platelet was. And when they explained, and mine were very low. Mine was something like 6 or 8 or something like that. They were dangerously low.
Yeah.
And that was a shock, learning that, which is why they kept me in on that Friday, you know, and kept me in from that moment on.
Yeah.
And get all the testing, because there was no way that they could let me out because my platelets were so low. So, yeah, but it was very strange about what was happening at that particular time, because I can't really recall. But I wrote down one of the things that I think actually got me into shock, because we obviously have still got the books and that they gave me, and you're supposed to read this. And I've got a couple of things that I'll read to you, Whoviewers, if you don't mind. One is basically, what is leukemia? Leukemia is a type of blood cancer that starts in the bone marrow, causing the rapid, uncontrolled production of abnormal white blood cells. So, you know, it goes on basically to say these malfunctioning cells crowd out the healthy blood cells. They hinder your immune system. You can't fight infection. And then it will lead to symptoms like fatigue, infections, and bruising. Now, the fatigue I got constantly, more from that point, particularly, Paul, actually.
Yeah.
More from that point, I started feeling tired all the time,
Yeah.
which is very strange. Um,
You said, GT, when you were initially kind of, you were worried about how you were feeling before you got diagnosis. How long did it take for them to get the initial kind of blood test to actually telling you had leukemia? What, you know what the time scale was? Was it a month or so, a couple of weeks? How long was it?
Ooh. Well, I went in on the Friday. I think it must have been about a week.
A week. So they dealt with it quite quickly then.
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
fairly quick because they
Yeah.
suddenly
Yeah.
realized they knew more than I did at this point as well. Of course,
Yeah.
they knew
Yeah.
that this is a serious issue. And thank God they acted so quickly. And I'm so grateful for them to acting quickly.
Yeah.
Because imagine if I'd ignored it. And this is the other thing. Don't ignore anything your body's telling you. You know, if you've got pains in your legs, if you've got pains in your arms, we are so British, aren't we? And we'll just say, oh, because I actually thought, who views the pains in my legs, I'm getting old. That's what I thought it was. You know,
Yeah.
oh, I'm getting old. And it wasn't. But, you know, stiff upper lip, carry on. You know, trying to going and doing stuff and running up and down stairs and all this sort of stuff. You know, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Hi, Golden Age Geek. Nice to see you. And yeah, so I think it was over a week. My mum would be able to tell you best, but I think it was around about, I'm going to say around about a week.
Right.
Okay,
Well,
so
that's quite good. That's really good. They jumped on it quickly, and you got that diagnosis, and they could act on it quickly as well, which is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And as I say, I am grateful for that. And then the other thing I was looking at was I heard the word Burkitt leukemia. So, you know, again, I'm going to show my ignorance to viewers. I'd heard of the word leukemia, but I didn't know what it was. I honestly didn't know what it was. So here I am suddenly being told you've got leukemia. It's a form of cancer. It's called Burkitt leukemia. All these words coming at me. All I'm thinking of, all I can hear is the word cancer.
Well, I remember going back to our conversation about, because we were chatting quite a lot at that point. I remember just via Messenger on Facebook, and I remember you saying that, telling me that, and I was really gobsmacked by that diagnosis. But I could tell you weren't sure what it was, because I thought,
Yeah.
oh, and I thought, oh God, how awful! You know, I didn't know what to say really, because obviously it was such an awful diagnosis. You know.
Well, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was one of the, I mean, Burkitt leukemia, according to the book, I'll read this to you. Burkitt leukemia is an extremely fast growing and aggressive form of mature B cell non Hodgkin lymphoma. So, you know, it affects your bone marrow basically. So that's the other thing that I was aware of, because I remember them saying it. I remember them saying something like it not aggressive exactly, but I remember them implying that this had to be dealt with quickly. But the other thing I remember them saying that it's curable. I remember the word curable, Paul.
Yeah.
And I was grasping onto that word curable.
Hmm.
Sean, hi, Sean Cryer. I know what you mean, JT. When I had the stroke, I felt as though they were talking about someone else during the diagnosis. It didn't feel real. You faced the situation with great fortitude. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. And Lex has given us a super chat. Thank you very much, Lex. I was in a ward with old men saying your friends. Then all suddenly they were asleep all day. So glad for family and friends coming in. Yeah, I'm very appreciative of my family. I'm going to be talking more about them during this particular show when we move hospitals, as it were. Smiley people are saying to us, Paul, I know of platelets now. I've never heard about it before. It's only when I think you're in a certain situation, isn't it? When they give you all this information and you go, what? And I certainly had never been in a medical situation in my life before, so I didn't know what is a platelet.
Well, I do a lot of medical role plays through my work and stuff. I work with the NHS and different things, so I've played many characters that have various symptoms. I knew that about leukemia a little bit. I wasn't an expert by any means, but I knew it wasn't anything good. That was my kind of take on it, you know. Yeah.
I'm shocked by this from Matt Enspield. Matt saying to us, I got my diagnosis over the bloody phone. Good God. How did you cope? I would have gone to pieces. It was bad enough having a specialist, a brilliant consultant, a brilliant doctor in front of me, telling me with the support of my family there. You know, that was bad enough. But I don't know if I could have handled it over the phone, because as I'm saying, Matt, I zoned out. I literally have lost a week, maybe 2 weeks I think just the stress and the trauma of being told, because in fact, I'm sure, and I can't say apologize enough, I think I scared my mother and my sister because I'd heard the word cancer. So I immediately, Paul, started to tell my sister all my passwords and my numbers to get into everything, my emails, my banking, my phone, my everything. You know, I gave her everything, saying you're going to need all this, because I assumed. I assumed. And this is before I'd heard the word curable. So by that point, when I'd heard that word, I think I traumatized my poor sister and my mother further.
And you were thinking that was it. You were thinking that's it. My time's up, weren't you? That's what you're thinking.
Yeah, absolutely, because I'd heard that word. And thank you, Giorgio. Nice to see you. There was that phrase that came into my head, Paul. Get your affairs in order.
Yeah.
Luckily, the majority of them are.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to be honest, they are. But this was a case of thinking, right, I've got to sort all this out. I've got to sort all this out. And it was a very strange time. It was a very strange time. And then what happened is my local hospital, my brilliant consultant, hi, Dr. Thomas, no relation. Hi, I gave him a hard time. We found that we have a sort of relationship where I could tease him to bits, and I did, and I do, and but he's brilliant, and he's my main consultant. There were lots of brilliant people around me. I'm so lucky, Paul. But I remember him and one of the other consultants eventually coming to me saying, you can't stay here at the local hospital. And that's when, again, I remember thinking, oh God, what now? What's going to happen now? I'm delighted to say that third Dr. Ian's joining us, everyone. Hello, you.
Sorry, I am late. Work and all that tosh, you know.
Not at all. It's good to see you. Heretic's just joined us as well. Hello, Heretic. He says, hi, everyone. I'm at a gig, but I wanted to pop in to show support. Well, good for you. And thank you so much. It's nice to see you. Enjoy the gig. Funky is also saying to us, I remember the first couple of weeks I've known Who's Views, thinking probably making best of the summer holidays. Then after that was something's wrong here. Before the post was put up, I never expected that, though. Yeah, because I did. I was very aware that I wasn't communicating with all you guys out there, all you beautiful subscribers to our channel. And I thought, I've got to do something. So my mum very kindly brought my laptop into the hospital, and I quickly got a graphic going saying, this is the situation, and thank you, and stay with us. I also remember speaking to Paul and Ian and all the others saying, there must be a way we can keep this channel going while I'm not there. There's got to be a way of doing it so that at least people would be, we were all together and we were being communicated to.
Well, it gave birth to the Tangent Twins, didn't it? That's the positive of that.
And
I didn't realise you were ill, JT. I thought you'd gone on holiday. It was a little bit like 1989, wasn't it? All we needed was a press release from Peter Gregeen saying Whose Views was going to be back later, bigger and better. And
yeah. I remember at the time when I was putting that post together, thinking of Bond, and that's why it says Whose Views will return.
Yeah.
I was thinking of James Bond. For some reason, James Bond, I know what it was. James Bond, Spectre was on the television, because in the hospital room I was in at my local hospital, I had access to a television. I was very lucky. And I'd been watching Spectre, I think it was.
I'm surprised GT didn't do that to be continued thing they did in New Who.
A lot of the Who viewers are saying hello to you, Ian, as you've joined us, which is great.
Hello.
And John Steve saying to us, JT, with everything you have been through and stuff you've had to cope with, this must have changed your outlook on your life and what matters most to you. It must have been so hard. It has changed my outlook a huge amount. I was never really a patient man as I was getting older, John. Now I'm more sort of able to say, right, that doesn't matter. Does that make sense? So if something's going to be something that I think there's no point in that, I can now just, instead of buttering it up or whatever, I can say no. But certainly my outlook on life is more, I've got to experience, I've got to live what I've got to, do you know what I mean? Because at one point I thought, I'm not going to get to Christmas. I'll be very honest. And, you know, it does change you. You guys in the chat that have gone through this or something like this, you'll know exactly what I mean. It does affect you, and you value the things around you more as well. So family, obviously, I mean, they're always important to me, but even more so now, you know, and my friends, like my lovely friend Jane, for example, who came to see me in the hospital every week. And I know she's in the audience, so thank you, darling. And giving me another element of home, you know. I mean, it makes you think more about things, really.
So your priorities have changed in life a little bit then, you would say?
I think to a certain degree, yes. I mean, I'm still the same JT.
Yeah. Oh, we know that. Yeah.
Yeah, good. But I think I'm more of an ability to go all in a day and just say about certain things that doesn't matter. I think I'm getting to that point anyway. Yeah. You know, there are certain things I'm not going to allow myself to stress about, really, if that makes sense. But it was at this point in my local hospital, I was just saying where they said to me, you can't stay here. And they said to me that the reason being for that was not because they didn't like me or was smelt or anything like that. It was simply because
nothing personal.
Nothing personal. Yeah. They said to me they didn't have the facilities to look after me properly. Which again, not knowing how the NHS works, not knowing how our hospitals work was new to me, because I thought all the hospitals were the same. How ignorant to the world was I at this particular point of not understanding that? But especially when you've got a cancerous you know, disease like I had with the leukemia, you know, with hindsight, I understand I had to go to specialists. And that was that. Matt, lovely to see you. Thanks for replying to my email this morning. You're very welcome, Matt. It was lovely to hear from you. I'm wishing you all the best. The man in front of me in the charity shop today had 5 box sets of classic Doctor Who in his hand at £2 each. I missed it by minutes. Oh, Matt, I am so sorry to hear that. Goodness me. We should have said to him, you sure you want them? I'll give you a £5 each. Oh, bless. Yeah. God, can you imagine that, guys? I would have been like this, looking at him. Oh no, that's terrible, isn't it? Darren's saying to us, on the plus side to it though, JT, we got the Tangent Twins. Yes, coming to a t-shirt near you soon. And Stephen O'Neill is saying to us, my father was diagnosed with leukemia on the 28th of the 8th, 2024. And because he was 87, they couldn't do anything. And he died on the 12th of the 9th, 24 in Wigan Hospice. He was 2 weeks away from his 88th birthday. Stephen, so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry. It's horrible to hear that they couldn't do anything for him. This was the thing, though, that went through my head. What can they do? Because the literature I was telling you about, what I did read scared me. I'll be honest. I'm going to be honest.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
And then because I was losing this ability to actually pay attention to stuff, I couldn't read, if that also makes a sort of sense. I was losing that ability to, I don't know, to pay attention. My attention span, as they call it, isn't it? You know, and you know that I mean, if you could see the crap I was watching on the hospital telly at the point, I was watching things like No Place in the Sun and moving house things and all that.
Oh, that is crap. It really is.
Yeah, and I remember Jane McDonald, bless her, who did cheer me up a little bit, but I'm like this, watching all this crap that they show on all these silly channels, you know, and that's all I could watch. That's all I could watch. Kirsty's with us in the chat. Nice to see you, Kirsty. Thank you so much for putting all the links in to the chat, Kirsty. Really appreciate it. Thank you, darling. So
I remember one of the things you said you were watching made me laugh. I was looking back at the text you sent me that you might have catch Tom Baker in the Sinbad movie on Channel 4 or Film 4 or something.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Goodness me. So, I didn't know at the time though that they repeat it every other day.
All right, that's probably
it's around
deja vu. Yeah.
And it's around about the 3rd or 4th time, Who viewers, that I'm watching Sinbad thinking I'm getting fed up with this now. So I've got to that point now where I know every line, unlike Martin Short. No, I'm kidding. I love it. But anyway, yes. So this is what happened now. So they said to me that we're going to move me to another hospital, and this is where the adventure really starts for me, guys, because I live in southwest Scotland, and they was moving me to a hospital in Glasgow, and I'd never heard of it. And where they moved me to was this hospital. This is the BEATSON, which is a Scotland's cancer centre based in Glasgow. Now, if you're in Glasgow or around about Glasgow, you've probably heard of the BEATSON. I had never heard of the BEATSON, guys, again, because of my unawareness of anything to do properly with the forms of cancer and leukemia and all this sort of stuff and what was going on. So this is a beautiful shot of the hospital I got taken to. And I remember I had my iPad in my local hospital. And when they said you're going to somewhere called the BEATSON, I thought I'd never heard of it. So of course I Googled it and I looked at it, and that was one of the pictures I saw. And I looked at what they did. And that was another element where I thought, oh, hang on. Okay. Wow. And I sort of went numb again, you know. And I do remember being bundled from my local hospital into a wheelchair, wheeled through the corridors of my local hospital, and then being put in a taxi. And at that point, I want to say, thank God for this service the NHS has of hospital taxi services run by volunteers.
Mm.
I would have been lost without them, because I wouldn't have been able to get from where I am in southwest Scotland to the centre of Scotland, the central belt, as we call it, with Glasgow. There was no way I was going to be able, and thank you to them. And I heard recently that they were thinking of axing that due to costs. And I would say to them, please don't. It's vital. It's absolutely vital for your patients, because the BEATSON in Glasgow is the centre. How lucky was I for cancer care? And people from all over Scotland go to the BEATSON. I met, when I got there, so many people. I met people from Inverness. I met people from somewhere called Edinburgh. I met people from all over Scotland that were there, as well as Glaswegians, strangely, you know. But I was put in a taxi, and again, thank you to my lovely consultant, because he allowed my mum and my sister to come with me. So I remember vaguely the trip, guys, coming from my local hospital to Glasgow, on a road I know so well, because I usually drive it when I go to Glasgow. And here I am in the passenger seat of this lovely ambulance taxi type thing, and just seeing things I hadn't really noticed before because I'm always driving. And I was like, okay. And it was at this point I started to really start thinking, who viewers, something's happening here. Something's happening. And when we got to the BEATSON, I'm going to thank you to the John Keeley for your super chat.
Wow.
Now, if that's a typo, please tell me. Good evening, gentlemen, says John Keeley. Hope all are well. I had to join you on this vlog. I like that word, actually. My brother Tam was diagnosed with leukemia and luckily was caught early, and the staff at the BEATSON and Gart Naval Hospital were all angels falling from the skies. Oh, John. Yes. Aren't they just? And I'm going to be really praising and bigging up the BEATSON now, because I spent 3 months there. And I met some amazing, the staff guys at the BEATSON are amazing. And I want to mention straight away, when I got there, it's another wheelchair job. I don't remember getting from the taxi to the reception. I was on the 4th floor, John Keeley, the 4th floor, Ward B7, which made me laugh, because of course that means Blake 7. So every time I'm in Ward B7, you had the urge to go, you know, this sort of stuff. But I was on the top floor in Ward B7. And I do remember going through the doors into the reception of B7, and by being met by one of the numerous nurses that I was going to get to know over the next 3 months. And this was Callum. So hi to Callum. He was the first point of contact for me. And I got wheeled into the ward. And at this point, I'm thinking, carry on. You know, it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. I got onto the bed, And Callum says to me, guys, do you know where you are? As he's getting ready to put this band thing on with all my details. You know, these, like, you know, which worried me as well. I think, oh my God, that's my identification strap. Oh God. You know, I've seen Doctor Who, the TV movie. I know what they're for, yes. So again, thank you for that, John. Really appreciate that. Thank you, John. Wow. So yeah, so we've got that element. And I said to him, I'm at the Beatston or the Beatson. And he said, yeah, you're at the Beatson and this is what we do. And that's when I realized this was serious. Yeah. This is when I suddenly went, oh God, I'm in trouble here. This is really, really serious stuff. Craig Dunlop is also saying to us, I've spent some time at the Beatson, seemed a remarkably empty hospital when I was there. Whereabouts? I mean, it's on several floors. In fact, guys, if I may, I want to show you, if you don't mind, this, so you can all see this. Now, this is the Beatson's website, okay? So have a look at this as we're talking here. That's it there, everybody, as you can see. And that's where I was staying. That's it there. You know. So anyway, I'm in this ward, and yeah, I'm sharing with three fellas. So we're chatting. We've introduced ourselves, you know, and all this sort of. I'm thankfully with my mum and my sister being there. I don't think. I think if they hadn't been there, I would have felt desperately alone, and you know, very sort of vulnerable. But because they were there with me, God loved them, and they stayed for the rest of the day. They had to go home, obviously, that night, and they had to make their own way home as well. They had to get a bus home to Southwest Scotland. But it was. I'm so glad that they were with me at that particular point, because it's not easy when you're taking away from your home and you're taking that far away, really, because it's 2 hours between where I live and Glasgow, you know, by bus especially, you know. So yeah, it was very, very bizarre. John Pope is saying to us here, you get the platelets from the blood. The NHS are always looking for blood donors. They are. And again, at this point, I had to have several blood transfusions when I was at the Beatston. And every time they would hook me up, all I could think of was, thank God for the people that have given this. Thank God that went in and gave blood. And, you know, God, I mean, can you imagine if that hadn't been there? I don't know. I don't know what would have done. PTA, thank you for your super chat as well. God bless you, JT. You continue getting yourself well. I am PTA, so thank you so much. I really am. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, JT, you said obviously your mum and your sister were hugely supportive, which is understandable, but they have to commute every time they can visit you and a 2-hour journey every day, or what did they do? I mean, that's...
Well, they did. And I want to say thank you to Mark Greaves for your super chat as well. Hi, JT. I think we've all lost people to this crap. I lost my uncle Brian and my cousin Terry within weeks of their diagnosis. Oh, God. I never got to say goodbye to them, but I'm happy beyond words that you're here. Thank you, Mark. And I'm sorry about that. You can see on that sign there, look, Ward B7, which included, that's the reception, guys, on the ward I was at. Okay. That ward, that's B7. That's where I was. It was busier when I was there. It was full of nurses and patients and all sorts of stuff. Those blue chairs, bloody hell, those blue chairs, the amount of times I had to sit in that chair. Thank you so much for everybody for your super chats, and I really appreciate it. Domgo is saying to us, Gart Naval is my local hospital, JT. Along with the Beatson, it's a great, great hospital. The Gart Naval, yeah, that was also in that little video there, wasn't it? Because I could see the Gart Naval across the road, as it were, from the ward window, because that's all I could see. When I looked out the ward window, there was a great big 1960s style pile of concrete in front of me, which was the Gart Naval Hospital. So that was there. Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with the chats as well. Thank you, everybody. That's great. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh, so you were asking about my mum and my sister. My mum and my sister came up every week, every single week while I was at the hospital. Now that's 2 hours there, 2 hours back on a bus, because that's the cheapest route, who views. And because my mum's of a certain age, God love her, she managed to get the bus free, because in Scotland we have this, we have got the bus pass for a certain age group free, quite rightly too. But my sister still had to pay. And then the other thing about it, guys, was of course that they had to pay for a hotel. The hotels, of course, are absolutely outrageously priced. So it cost a fortune. And they were there every single week, 1 night or 2 nights. So that's 2 days or 3 days with me. And I have to say, they'll never know how grateful I am, because that was something for me to look forward to. Yeah. Because, you know, people that were local, as you'll appreciate, guys, were getting visitors every night. Yeah. Every night. And I got to know some of those visitors. And the staff at the BEATSON are so brilliant and so fantastic and so attentive and so busy. I mean, they're so professional. They are running around doing everything they need to do. They're looking after a lot of patients. They're doing the jobs they have to do. They are so professional and so amazing. What else? You know, what can I say? I thank them all so much, because they were all brilliant. But they have this sort of, they really do. And I know it's a cliche, but I mean it. They have this family feel going on to them, you know, because they know each other, and they're working with each other all the time, you know, 7 days a week. And through a shift system, 24 hours a day. So they work with each other constantly. You know, they're all supporting each other, and they're all brilliant. And you know, they are amazing, an amazing team. And I felt with them as well, that was because there was that family unit feel. I could speak to them as we went on, and they were looking after me and all this sort of stuff. But my mum and my sister, every week without fail, Paul, you know, and I don't know what I would have done without them, to be quite honest. You know, that's the thing about family. And then I was so lucky because my friend Jane lived nearby, so Jane was coming to see me every week as well, and bringing me Kit Kat. So, but the other thing about this is that, you know, I'll go to the chats first. So glad you had your mum and your sister, JT. Yeah, absolutely. So am I. Did you find any Who fans there? Said Mark Greaves. I didn't actually. No, I don't remember anybody.
I remember you telling me, so interrupted, that one of the doctors made a reference to the Mara, and I thought, my God, Doctor Who fans get everywhere.
Oh, yes, that's right. Well remembered. Yeah, I met a doctor called Dr. Kinder.
Okay,
and she came to, yes, she came to do what doctors do, Ian. She came to, you know, prod me and investigate me and do things. And I looked at her badge and I said, you know, the way it was spelled, I said, is your name Dr. Kinder? And she went, that's right, that's right. And I said, oh my God, something along the lines of, oh God, you're not part of the Mara or something like that, are you? And she went, you're a Doctor Who fan. I went, what? I think, you know, she wouldn't get the reference. She said, I've heard them all before, you know, I've seen the episodes, they're very good. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, well remembered, Paul. I'd forgotten here. Dr. Mara.
They get everywhere, don't they, Doctor Who fans? Yeah.
They do, yeah. Oh, I've forgotten about that. Moondust, hello to you. Medical professionals, and especially the volunteers, are amazing human beings. Thanks for sharing your story, JT. Well, thank you, Moondust. Yes, everybody I met was just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, yeah, I'm really, really grateful for them as well, because, you know, it's not easy. And they had to put up with a little bit from me as well. There was one night, of course, which I now know was nothing to do with anything except the fact that the treatment, where I couldn't sleep and I was demanding a new bed. I was so tired. I was saying, this mattress is awful. I can't sleep on this. I can't sleep on this. And God love them. A couple of the nurses went to find me a new mattress, and they found one. And I said, I can't sleep on that. It's too hard, because it was rock hard. Apparently all the mattresses are the same. I don't think so, but it could be my body, because it was so late. I got so tired. It must have been about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And this is later on into my stay at the BEATSON. And they remade the bed for me. And I lay on it and fell asleep. And I had that mattress for the rest of my stay. So I think it was me
Yeah.
you know, my body at that point reacting to what was going on, you know.
Yeah.
Well, your body would have been an absolute battlefield, wouldn't it, really?
Yeah.
You'd have been absolutely internally smashed to hell. So you'd be a lot more sensitive and a lot more acutely aware of the slightest little, you know, it's almost like the princess and the pea, isn't it? Not that I'm calling you a princess, JT, but, you know,
Or a pea, for that matter. Yeah.
or a pea, but you would feel everything, wouldn't you?
Yeah, yeah. But yes, so there's that was the initial. You know, I'm so glad that my family were coming up every week because I had something to look forward to. I know it was a hassle for them, and it was stressful for them, and it was expensive for my mother and my sister. But I was grateful that they were there because I had something to look forward to. I had a piece of home coming to see me, and then there were the other things as well. Because when you're in that situation, it opens up all your eyes to all sorts of things. So, for example, my mother pointed out at one point, "I'm going to have to take you washing."
Yeah.
You know, I hadn't thought about that. The hospital very kindly given me a bag, everybody, to put my dirty laundry in. But I hadn't thought at that point, well, where do I go to wash it? And there's no laundrette on the site. You know, there's nowhere to do it. If you're local, I'm sure it's absolutely fine because you can just nip home like some of the fellas' wives were doing. They were taking the washing and bringing them fresh clothes the next night or something like this.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. And a couple of the other guys couldn't do that because we live further afield. So, you know, my mum, God love her, would come up with fresh clothes and take my dirty laundry back. And that was going on for weeks, guys. It was absolutely going on for weeks. So that was adding to the stress as well that my mother and my sister were feeling, you know. Marie UK is pointing out, I'm with you, JT. I hated sleeping in those beds. In fact, I hate any bed that's not mine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was just my body, really. So yeah. So I'm sorry.
You also get used to your own room, don't you? Because when I was in hospital, I found that I had trouble sleeping a lot of the time because of different noises in the hospital that you're not used to, that in your own house you wouldn't have. You know what I mean? So that makes you a bit restless as well, doesn't it? Because you kind of you react to everything in the space because you're not used to it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Thanks, PVFS. Nice to see you. Hope you're all right, darling. And Gavin Graham sent us the BEATSON treated two of my work colleagues. One sadly succumbed. Happily remission for the other. We were all born in the same week and we were all Whovians. The law was being spread there 16 years ago. Yeah, that's good to know. That's good to know. Sheila be in the devotion saying to us that hospital beds made me sweat. I was very cold in some of them, to be quite honest. You know, they had to give me at one point 4 blankets, four NHS blankets that I had over me at one point. It was ridiculous. These thin blue things, as I'm sure a lot of you will remember. But yes, so there we are. I'd got into the BEATSON, and things happened very quickly, which shows again how professional the guys were, the staff were, because they knew what they had to do. They knew instantly what I had to do. Now, this is all a culture shock for me, everybody. And this is what I would say to anybody that's just discovering that they're in this position, or anyone that is in this position, or anyone that's got a loved one that they know in this position. Because, of course, it doesn't just affect you as the star of the show, as it were. It affects everybody else around you. Like with me, it affected my friends and my family. And that's the big thing, you know. But the physical stuff is happening to you, of course. And they introduced this thing to me saying, you're going to get a Hickman line. Now, I don't know if any of you know what a Hickman line is, but I can show you. Now, this isn't me, because believe it or not, I didn't take any pictures of my time in the hospital. It never even crossed my mind. But this is a Hickman line. So, of course, this is a way that they can actually take blood from you without constant injections, which I'm very grateful for because I hate injections and I bruise easily, especially with this particular disease. I was bruising very, very easily as soon as they put a needle near my arm, you know, and by God did they try and put needles all over my arms and all these bruises would appear. But this is a Hickman line. It's now, if I'd known at the time, guys, that this is what they put into me, I probably would have fainted because look how primitive it is.
Yeah.
Look how
Yeah.
it's just a tube with these two connectors that they put into your chest, like this gentleman here. That's what I had for 3 months on me, attached into me. And and it was only when they took the thing out just before Christmas 2025, and I saw it there covered in blood. Is that what's being in it? It's a tube. It's a pipe. Is that it? But yeah, that was it. And what they do with that is it was put here. It was put here on my chest. And basically the tube is inside you, like on that diagram. You've got these two pipes, and they can connect things to you. So they would connect the drips when they were doing the chemo, or they would connect the syringes to take the blood off me. And by God, they took blood. I remember joking to many of the nurses saying, listen, I'm supposed to be keeping the blood and reproducing the blood and working on the blood. And you've just given me loads of blood. Why are you taking it away from me again?
I'm surprised you didn't go to the Hancock a pint that's almost an armful gag when you were doing that.
I think I might have done at one point, Paul. Hi, Jason Parker. How are you? I'm so glad I finally caught you live this week. I've been at work and missed so many gems this week. Lots to catch up on. That's the good thing about it, isn't it? I'm so glad I've caught this one, though, JT. Oh, my God, those bed shivers. Yes. PVFS is saying, yikes, to those, to the Hickman line. Yeah, it was. And John Paul Barrett's with us. Hi, John. How are you, mate? Hi, Justin. I just want to write that you're a top fella who I've had the good fortune to have exchanged communication with, who has a vast interest in subjects, not just Doctor Who, all the best, JP. Thank you, JP. I really, really appreciate that. You're a star. But yeah, so they put this thing into me. Now, I have to tell you, Who viewers, this wasn't the most pleasant thing I've experienced in my life. Because one of my, I got taken up to the Gart Naval Hospital across the way. And I didn't know what was good. They hadn't told me, guys, what they were about to do to me. They just said, you're getting a Hickman line. And they didn't tell me exactly what was going to happen. And I'm probably very, very glad that they didn't, because it was bloody awful. Thanks, Stephen, for your messages here, mate. Thank you. Marie UK saying to that picture, I thought having a cannula was bad. Those cannulas, they frightened the hell out of me.
Yeah.
They frightened the hell out of me, because I looked at some of the fellas that had these things, and there's no way I can go through that. You know, I just because it's in you all the time. This was different to a cannula. I would imagine the cannulas, and I've had one since, or did I have one before? But I just keep thinking it's just a needle in your arm with a load of tape over the top of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is something different, as you saw there, the Hickman line. It's the tube that's in you. And it just had the hole in the tube so the blood can come out and the poison can go in, basically. That's what chemo is, basically. It's toxic. It's poison. It was another running gag of mine when I started getting the chemo is, who thought of the fact that we're going to have to poison people to get them better? I mean, it's so human, isn't it? The logic is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I remember you saying that, obviously I've heard lots of stories about people having chemo, but it's a horrible thing to go through. But there's lots of, you just feel rotten, don't you, when you're having that treatment, don't you?
The first one was shortly after the Hickman line.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about it, because the Hickman line, I've got to tell you this. Oh, God. The Hickman line was put into me. This is where I started to feel a bit like a Cyberman Who viewers. I can tell you that this because I'm with friends and with geeks. I thought, oh my God, what are they doing to me? I'm being cybernized. They put me on this bed in this room on the hottest day of the year of 2025 in Glasgow. It was boiling. And I'm lying on this bench, this table, this bed, whatever you want to call it. I've got two nurses to the left of me, and I've got another nurse or a doctor, whomever it was, who was going to put the Hickman line in me, right? And we were sweating. It was absolutely incredible. It was so hot. And of course, no windows to open. They're all stationary, they're all fixed, of course. And we were sweating. And one of the nurses, I can't remember his name, but he said, oh, you look like somebody who likes pop music. And he put pop music on the radio for me. And I thought, what is this? What's this? Oh, my God. And I was like, oh, goodness me. I thought, fine, okay, that's fine, a bit assumptive, but fine. But anyway, this pop music song. And then one of the nurses who was a student at the time and who actually graduated while she was looking after me on the ward and ended up working at the BEATSON, she held my hand all the way through this thing. God love her. Because what they did is, I said, I don't want to see this. What are you doing? Stun me out. They knock me out. I can't see this. I don't want to see this. They can't do that because the local anesthetic. And I said, no, just knock me out with a brick or something. I don't want to see any of this. So do you know what they did? They did this makeshift tent made out of that blue kitchen roll stuff.
Yeah.
And they put it over the top of me.
So you couldn't see it. So you couldn't see it.
I couldn't see what she was doing on my chest, but I knew she was shoving me around. The anesthetic didn't numb me completely. I knew she was shoving me around. She said, "Oh, it's not going in the way I want it to." And I'm like, what's I can look back now and laugh, but at the time, I think I must have been terrified and I must have been crying because the nurse was holding my hand. I'm like, get me out of here. I don't care if you play in Kylie or not. I want to go. So, but it was an experience. And then when I met some other fellas that on the ward after I'd had mine and they had to go for the Hickman line, I was able to say to them, this is my experience. You better get yourself ready. Look, this is what it's like,
How long were they feeding you the chemo for that first session you got?
Well, the first session, oh gosh, it was a Saturday. I remember that because my mum and my sister had come up for the weekend, and they come up, and a couple of friends of mine, Lee and his wife Andrea, had driven them up. So I had 4 visitors on the Saturday, but I was out of it, Paul, because they'd given me the chemo on the Friday. Yeah. And I spent the entire day Saturday throwing up. It was incredible. It was just awful. And I couldn't get out of the bed because I was exhausted, absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
So what was going on is I'm just like, constantly throughout the day. And my mum and my sister were so good. They stayed with me all day. Lee and Andrea had to eventually go because they went somewhere else. They went off somewhere else. But Mum and Janine were with me all day as I went through this sickness. So that day was just awful. And it was terrible, Paul. It was absolutely awful. But this is the thing I want to say to people as well. If you've been told, or you are going through chemotherapy, the biggest thing I would say is, this is where I learned, you've got no choice. These people know what they're doing. You've got to trust them and you've got to let them do it. These are professionals. They are there to look after you and they will. And you've just got to go with the flow. So the Hickman line was the first thing. And that's, I remember actually thinking at the time, she knows what she's doing. It's not the best day to do this. I understand this. We're all hot. We're all bothered. She's having a little bit of a problem with the wire, getting it into me or something. But she got there. And that's when I thought, this is something I can't control. I have no say in this whatsoever. I have to do what I'm being told, which for someone like me is a culture shock.
But doing as you're told, that's surprising.
But you have to do that because you suddenly realize that you what is going on with you and your life as it is suddenly now very much in the hands of people that know better than you. And that, so that's when I actually, at this point, I think I relaxed, guys. The fact that here I am in this hospital, I've suddenly realized I'm bloody lucky to be in the BEATSON. I'm really lucky to be there. I've got fantastic people looking after me 24 hours a day. They know what they're doing. They're explaining things to me. Like, I do remember them saying, one of the lovely nurses saying to me, you're starting your chemotherapy. Everybody reacts differently. You might be very ill. You might not be very ill. I'm one of those people, typically, that was very ill. After the first round of chemo. Bloody awful. Let's go and see what they're saying in the chat for a minute before I continue my story. Bedweer, I got an infection from a cannula once and it track up my arm. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't have to have those. John Paul saying to us, just remaining so resilient through this difficult time. You're an inspiration to us all. All the best, JP. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I don't know if I'm an inspiration, but I want to share what I did because, as I say, somewhere every day someone's diagnosed with something, and until it happens, as a lot of you in the chat will know, you don't understand how your life suddenly goes woof and how you react to it. Boomer Doug, it's good to see you. How are you? As someone living with the blood cancer myself, hat off to you for being so candid, mate. Your positive attitude is refreshing. Well, thank you, Boomer Doug. And I knew Boomer Doug had this because you were very honest with the emails for me. And to those people that did email me while I was going through all this, and you're sharing your stories, thank you, because you inspired me just as much as some of you are saying I'm inspiring you now. And it was lovely to hear from you during those difficult times, because I just thought, what these people know. So you are, in fact, part of the inspiration for doing this show, because I thought we can share things. You know, we've got to talk about this, and people just have to be, you know, a little bit more aware, really, in a sense. So thank you. Marie UK saying, I'm not scared of injections because they are just in and out, but you can feel a cannula moving around every time you move.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't see, things like that scare me. That's why I was saying I'm not having one of them, which is why I was glad, Marie UK, that they actually chose to go for the Hickman line approach. Okay, it was with me for 3 months, and for the first couple of weeks, guys, as well, I couldn't sleep properly. I was like this on my back sleeping because this thing was here.
Yeah.
I was terrified I was going to pull it out in my sleep. And the nurses were saying, you're not going to pull it out. It's fine. It's fine. You're going to be okay. And I'm like, look at this.
Well, I remember it was around, but when you were going through your first couple of stages of chemo, that I was going to come and see you. And I remember, understandably, you were obviously, I think some days when you're in there, you're up and down, which I can understand that. And we were going to come and see you. I was going to surprise you with Kirsty turning up.
Yes.
And you put us off because you weren't in the mood, which I understand that. You know,
I feel really guilty about that, because Paul had texted me a few days before saying, I'm going to come and see you on a particular day. And I was like, yay, that's fantastic. And the surprise was he was going to bring Kirsty, the lady of the chat, with him as well. But on the morning that he was supposed to come along, I was really ill and I looked terrible and I was really ill. And I was saying, I had to say to you, Paul, didn't I? Please don't come today, because there was just no way I could entertain, as it were. And I actually
wouldn't expect you to entertain you. Would you? Did he tap dancing or singing while we were there?
No, but you know what I mean.
Expected that, you know.
I spent that day just being quite, and it wouldn't have been nice for you, and it wouldn't have been nice for me. And
no, I understand that completely. I really do. I just wish I had a chance to come pop in and see you. You know, but there'll be times for coffee soon, I'm sure, which will be fine. Yeah.
I'm working up to trying to do that. I'm aiming to get up to see you, aren't I? Steve Braddock also saying to us that his friend Nick. Now, Nick, for long-term Who viewers may remember, Nick was a Who viewer as well, and he was very supportive of the channel. And we showed some pictures of him on some of our shows and stuff.
I remember, yeah.
It was very sad when he passed, when Stephen had told us he passed. But his friend Nick had chemo in 7-hour sessions. The first chemo session, he reacted badly, but after that, he got used to it because he had to accept it. Yes, absolutely. And that was the thing. I mean, my sessions, Steve, were very long. I can't remember the first one, how long that was, but you know those drip things, I don't know what they're called, Ian, those sort of hat stands with drips on them, you know.
I think they're just called drips,
right? Well, you get used to them because you get used to pilot them around with you when you're connected to the thing.
So they were on wheels, aren't they? Like a hat stand.
I've got the bathroom or whatever. It's difficult.
Yeah, and of course they've got that little bleepy thing that looks like a droid from Star Wars. I could see a face on that thing. You're from Star Wars, aren't you? So mine was called R5D6. And I would call it R5D6 because I had to wheel it around with me every time I was connected to the bloody thing.
R5D6 from B7.
Yeah.
Were you talking to it probably as well? Were you?
Yes. Because it would bleep, and I'd say "shut up," and it would bleep at something in the morning. I'm sharing with 3 other guys, you know, on this ward, and this thing would bleep, and I shut up, you're gonna wake everybody up. But you know, they would connect you up. They would put the chemo on this thing and then connect you up through the Hickman line. Now I can't remember how long the first one was. I think possibly because of the shock of the day after, just being sick. But I went through 4 sets of chemo on this thing, and they were anything between. There was one I remember started at 10 o'clock and it finished at midnight. So 10 o'clock in the morning till midnight.
Wow, long time.
There was another one that went through the night. And God, I couldn't sleep properly that night because I was terrified again that I was going to disconnect the thing. You know, the things that go through your head when you're connected up to these things, you know. oh God, if I roll over, I'm going to disconnect it, or something's going to happen, or whatever, or it's not going to work, or whatever it is. So that was a terrible night, and that was through the night. But again, I had to remember I've got to trust the nursing staff around me, and they were brilliant. They were always coming in and they were always checking it, and they knew what they were doing. I didn't have a clue what they would, and they would say to me, right, you have to give your ID, what's your name, what's your date of birth, what's your NHS number, all that sort of stuff. Right, what we're going to do, Justice, we're going to put this to you, and this does this and that and this and that. So they don't understand what you're saying, just do it. But they have to tell you.
Yeah.
And they go through all this stuff, and I just look at these guys, and even now I think, my God, they understand exactly every word they're talking about. Aren't they brilliant?
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't understand a bloody word. And I tell them that. I go, no, yeah, matron, yeah, all this sort of very good, yes. You carry on, yes. I had to explain to some of them who Kenneth Williams and who Victoria Wood was. That made me feel really old. Thanks, girls. Wow. Honestly. Yeah. Derek is asking me, how long was I in hospital for? All in all, Derek, it was just over 3 months. It was over 3 months. And I'm taking 4 sets of chemo. And, thank you, Timescales. Nice to see you. Glad to see you doing so well, JT. It's nice to see you as well. I haven't seen you since we did, I did a show for Timescales on this channel. My uncle was diagnosed as Timescales with cancer of the bone marrow a few weeks ago. I've had to have some, blood transfusions and just got out of the hospital. Pass on my my best wishes to him. I had several blood transfusions as well as part of all this. I've lost count how many. The girls will know at the hospital. The nurses would know. I lost count. It was just one of the you get into. It's really strange. You get into a sort of routine, and because I would have dizzy spells because my platelets were still quite low, I would get the odd dizzy spell. That's when they would check and that, right, you're going to have some blood. You're going to have some blood. Because what happened, of course, is the leukemia had infected my bone marrow. So there was no blood being circulated.
Yeah.
All these things you learn about. It's incredible, isn't it? You just think, oh, who are these?
There's an awful lot to it. And what they know, what they learn, and what they're developing all the time is incredible. I read yesterday, this was more for tumors rather than in the blood, but I think it was Australia, and they were pioneering where the tumors are identified. You're in a CT machine, so they get a 360 3D view of it, and they inject a cryogenic gas into the tumor, and you can, it freezes it and effectively destroys it, breaks its cell structure. And minimally invasive, minimal drugs and everything. You just think, my God. And then
I think I saw about this as well on one of the unapproved news channels where they were talking about this, because I got slightly excited about this, thinking this is cutting out the chemo, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, and they're also doing stuff, and this is where AI is coming in more, because AI, when you educate it, it's taking the time out of things. They're using AI to identify breast cancer from scans now, because previously they used to need to take a scan, maybe often from a mobile place, send it to the hospital, it gets checked, comes back, and then they have to contact somebody to say, come back, you need another check or whatever. Now it's like they'll take it, AI, bang, you need another one, and they're still there, so you can take another one. But I think the most incredible one is the genetics testing, where they're speeding up the amount of time it takes from taking your samples to getting a developed therapy that is tailor-made for your biology, so one that's tailor-made for you, rather than all the drugs are generic, and that's why people react differently. But these are ones that are tailor-made for you. Now that would normally
the vaccine one you're talking about, isn't it? Because there was a Dundee hospital are doing that. They've been doing some tests recently, and one lady's been she's now cancer free from having this vaccine done, which is based on her own tumors, and they take cells and then they base the vaccine on your own system. which is unique to you, which is fantastic. Yeah,
system
yeah,
to recognize
yeah.
the cancer cells as, and that's where it sounds so bizarre, because your body doesn't recognize cancer cells as being bad because they're your cells, so it doesn't see them as invasive, and you need to train it, and the stuff that's going on is absolutely incredible.
It is absolutely incredible. I remember saying to one of the many doctors I met at the BEATSON, as I'm going through all this and the chemo and all this, because what happens is that, you know, on the ward, especially every Monday, you would get the consultants and the students, if you like, coming around to see you at your bed, and you'd be like, how are you, what's going on? I loved all that, because you got to meet the consultants and they'd be able to give you feedback, and you'd be able to ask questions, and it was nice to see them. And that's how I got to know all my doctors as well, of course, you know, absolutely fantastic. The lot of them at the BEATSON, they're brilliant. But I remember saying to one of the doctors one afternoon, hopefully one day there will come a time, like in one of the Star Trek films, where the doctor can just give you a pill and say, take that and call me in the morning. Yeah. You know, and he laughed at that, and he said, well, you never know. I don't think it'll get there, but AI is a big thing, isn't it? And I said, oh, don't start me on AI. Don't start me on that one. But here we go. And you just don't know, you know, whatever makes things simpler and more instant to get rid of all this stuff. And we've got to bear in mind that cancer mutates every day, and some new strain appears because it's a clever bugger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's clever. I mean, when I was in the BEATSON, the whole place, you know, I would meet people, not just the guys that were in the ward with me. And that was a turnaround as well. I must have 17 or 18 ward mates, because if you were local, you were able to be seen quicker. And then you would become, what do they call it? A day patient, you know, or something like that. Whereas I had to stay there with a few others because we were long distance. Yeah. But it was a case of, like, you know, with the whole thing, if they can make the whole process easier and quicker, so you don't have to go through chemo, especially, because that was something. That was an experience, I have to tell you, because they put all this, they basically fill your body with poison, you know, with poison. And some people are lucky and apparently don't react to it. I was one of the unlucky ones. The second one wasn't so bad. I actually got cocky, who viewers, after the second one, thinking, oh, I'm all right. I can handle this. And then the third and the fourth one came along, and I thought, no, I can't. No, I can't. There's no way I can handle it. And the length of time you're going through it. So if anything like that can help, it's amazing. I want to say thank you to Matt Enspiel. For JT, you are an inspiration to me. We all have our own journeys, and your story helped me greatly. Matt's going through his own stuff at the moment as well. So make sure you keep in touch with me, Matt. You know my email address, whosviews1@gmail.com. So please, 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 yeah. And Paul Richards is saying, you've done incredibly well, JT. When I was in hospital with my heart problems, I did have to face up to my mortality, which is quite unnerving, to say the least. Yeah. Isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it? You're in that hospital bed. You've got people around you. There were patients that were a lot worse than I was. This is why, guys, I keep thinking I am so bloody lucky, because not only did I have the fantastic staff at the BEATSON, as well as my consultants in my local hospital to look after me, but I think I got away with it, not lightly, but when I compare myself to some of the fellas that were in there.
You obviously caught it at the right time. That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, that's
I think they did. Yeah. I think they did, even though I'm going to say this, I think it could have been caught earlier. Right. Because of course I'd had the pains and I'd had the signs for a long time before, and it just wasn't seen. It just wasn't caught. It just wasn't thought about. But you know, I count myself incredibly lucky. Honestly, I really do. I didn't get converted into a Cyberman. Honestly, I thought I was on my way there, but I didn't. But thank you for that as well. Timescales are saying, JT, if it's not too personal, now you can ask me anything on this, because I can always say no. You know, are you getting your weight built back up? Oh God, the weight. Timescales. Oh,
that was going to be my next question, actually, but they weren't.
Oh, that's the weight was a nightmare, because I didn't realize you don't see yourself, do you? And I didn't realize I was losing weight. I mean, it was my mum that was saying you're losing weight. She was insistent. I said, don't be daft. Don't be daft, Mum. I'm not losing weight. I feel the same. And Yeah, the weight was dripping off me, and I think I noticed actually on one day when I had my coat on, and I felt like Sylvester McCoy in Colin Baker's coat, you know, because McCoy always says they lost him for a couple of weeks, didn't they, in Colin's coat? I felt like that in my own coat. So my mother was absolutely right, as mothers always are. Let's face it. But no, they did say I had to work on getting the weight on. It was difficult at first. Timescales to there was times when I couldn't eat, which didn't help. But since I've been home, and definitely since Christmas, when I got over the last set of chemo, because I was really ill for a couple of days after the fourth set of chemo. I'm there. I'm nearly there now with my weight. So thank you for asking. Thank you very much for asking. It's really weird as well, Timescales, because I had a lot of cravings when I was in hospital, which was very annoying. I never liked really chocolate. And what was one of my cravings for? Oh, guys, I couldn't get enough of chocolate. Honestly,
well, so you were just fattening you up anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing was that nothing was affecting me.
Yeah.
You know, because it was one of those rare periods in my life where I could eat what I wanted, even though I didn't want to eat, and I wouldn't put on weight. But Jane was coming every week and bringing Kit Kats and chocolate, and my mum and my sister were bringing the same sort of things, and I went through several cravings, which was totally weird. Chocolate, crisps, although that didn't last long. Cheese. After the third set of chemo, I had this incredible 2-day craving for cheese. And what didn't the Beatson have?
No cheese.
No cheese. No cheese.
Are you still on the Guinness? I remember when you came out, you wanted to take Guinness. Are you still taking that?
Yeah, I have. I'm having half a can of Guinness every day.
Right.
I can't manage it.
Is that for the iron content in it as well?
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah.
I'm also eating beetroot.
You're not pregnant, are you? Because it's good for pregnant women as well, apparently.
No, I'm not. Honestly, no, I'm not. Not at all. That hasn't come back. But no, it's a case of I'm eating beetroot every day as well, because apparently that's good for your blood as well. So I'm eating beetroot every day, even if it's on a cheese sandwich, Ian, something like that. I'm eating beetroot every single day. And the Guinness, half a can, because the cans are quite big. I think it's a pint, isn't it?
Yeah.
Must be a pint. Yeah. So I have half every day. So thanks for asking. I'm doing that. But thanks for that, Timescales. Domgo is with us in the chat saying, was this something in your family history, JT? No. No, not at all. This is brand new. Trust me.
Which made it probably more of a shock, I'd imagine. Yeah, because if it's something that was in the family,
yes,
we expect it to happen.
Yeah. So typical, eh? Marie UK, thank you for your super chat. I was in hospital with fluid on my joints, unable to move. The woman next to me began choking on her food. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be lying next to a dead woman. Thankfully, the nurse got there in time. Yeah, that's the brilliant thing about them, Marie, isn't it? I mean, the nurses I met and the doctors I met at the Beatson, just absolutely, I can't credit them enough. And I never will stop, because I owe them an awful lot. They were wonderful. They were friendly. They were approachable. They were caring. They were everything you want these people to be. Professional, courteous, put up with a lot of crap. Not from me, but they did. They put up. They've got to work hard. They've got to do exams. They've got to do paperwork. They work 24 hours. They work long shifts. I mean, the shifts would start at something like 7 in the morning or 6:45 in the morning with a briefing, and they'd still be there, some of them at 7 at night or longer, The head nurse, who I called matron when she wasn't listening, because they don't call them that anymore, she'd be there all bloody day. She was lovely as well. So lucky I got to meet them all. I really am, and I'm never ever going to forget them, because I'm so grateful to them. And that's the other reason I'm doing this show, because I really want to big up the Beatson, because I'd never heard of it, and it's an amazing thing. Boomer Doug is saying what you're doing now is very important. Cancer doesn't have to be a death sentence. In fact, it puts life into perspective. I'm very lucky that mine is incurable, but it's monitored, and I'm still here. Yeah, and it's great to have you with us, Doug. Honestly, absolutely fantastic. And Doug keeps in touch with me as well. So he tells me what's happening with him, and that's fantastic. And this is the thing. And you never know, one day something might happen. As Ian was pointing out, that things are happening constantly every day. And the other thing about the BEATSON in Glasgow is that the whole thing about the BEATSON is they are so clever, these people. They are always looking into blood and what happens with it and how cancer affects it and how to do this and how to do that. These people are genius. You know, I mean, they do things I can't even contemplate. You know, wasn't I lucky? It was on. It was okay. It's 2 hours away, but it's on the doorstep, more or less. You know, okay, it's a pain to get to for my family. But what would I have done without the BEATSON? I hate to think. I hate to think. So the other thing that the BEATSON introduced me to, guys, Moriarty, hello. Not seen you for a while. It's nice to see you in the chat. Hello. How are you? And Tyler Durden Smile is with us as well. Hello, Tyler Durden. Tyler Durden Smile. Thank you so much for joining us on this. Something different for Whose Views here. So I hope you don't mind me prattling on. Stephen, thank you for your super chat. You're an inspiration, JT. We're all with you. Thank you so much, mate. I appreciate that. I just think it's important to talk about it so that if anybody finds this show or if you're going through it, we can come together and talk about it. Or if you know somebody that's going through it, because as I keep saying, it's not just about the person that's happening to, it's about your family and it's about your friends around you, because everybody feels it.
Yeah.
And I certainly know from my family, because we're so close, by God, they felt it. You know, the other thing I need to tell you about as well is that my mum found out as I am leaving the hospital for the last time that she could have got counselling at the hospital. Now, I didn't know this. And my mum didn't find out till late in the day. And as she has said, both her and my sister could have accessed this. In fact, anybody that was coming to see me could have accessed this and taken advantage of it. So at this point, while I'm remembering this, had we known about that, my mum and sister would have taken advantage of that. But I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not saying, oh gosh, they weren't told. The reason they probably weren't told is because everybody's so busy. Yeah. You know, and you can't expect them to remember to say, you know, all sorts of things. But one thing I would say to anybody that is, I've got a family member or a friend going through something like this, is ask. If you want a counsellor, if you want to say, I need somebody to talk to, then ask the staff. Because it's very likely there'll be somebody on hand or nearby that you can actually go and see in our country as part of the NHS service. And I wish we'd known about that, because I certainly know my mum and my sister would have taken them up, and when they come to visit me, they would have gone for an hour to talk to somebody. Yeah. Because by God, they needed it. They couldn't talk to me about it because I'm going through all this crap. They were able to talk to me about their concerns, their stresses, their worries. That wasn't going to happen. But it would have been nice for them to have somebody there, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool and dry. Thank you for your message there, Mark. Nice to see you.
I think, JP, I think we've also missed a super chat as well, just after Marie's from PT Muzak.
Okay, hi PT Muzak.
They say, my sister's fiance died from stomach cancer in 2024, and my cousin's partner was diagnosed 2025. It's a terrible thing, and I think we're being poisoned. It's awful when people go, isn't it? It's absolutely horrendous. Yeah, seeing it happen and everything. So deepest condolences.
Absolutely, and thank you for sharing. Honestly, thank you so much for sharing that. This is the wonderful thing about our community here on Whose Views. We can do this because we're amongst friends. And thank you for sharing all your stories. And yeah, I'm so sorry about that, PT Music. Thank you for your super chat. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate you all. This is all, it's also personal, isn't it? It's also personal. The other thing that's personal is a lot of you were in the chat asking about Just Jordan. Just Jordan is one of our regular Who viewers. On a couple of our shows now, I've done a shout out to her to say, where is she? Because the last thing we heard about, I think, was just after Christmas, wasn't it, guys? Where she came onto one of the shows in the live chat. Yeah. She spoke to us all, and she said that her dad was in hospital. Now, her dad is a big Doctor Who fan. He's a big Who's viewer as well. He's about our age, us on the panel. And he was in. So listen, Just Jordan, if you're out there, please get in touch with us. Please, whosviews1@gmail.com. Please let me know. I'm praying that you're okay, and I'm praying that your dad's all right. So please, if you see us, give us a call, please, because we're worried about you, darling. We are. Yep. We want to know you're okay, and that your dad's okay as well. Farsight is saying, JT, you should get the protein drinks. I think the brand is Ensure. My mum had to take them during a Hodgkin's treatment. Yes, you're right, Ensure. I had them. One of the things I would say about the BEATSON, the only downside for me at the BEATSON was the food was bloody disgusting. Now, I'm not talking out of turn on that, because I would say to the staff all the time, what's this dross that you're bringing me now? I have to tell you, if it's Glasgow City Council or if it's Glasgow Health Board or whoever it is that's running this, get your acts together. You've got very poorly people in these hospitals, and they need fed properly, and they need nutrition, and you're cost cutting. Bring the kitchens back, bring the chefs back, get things done daily. Just do it, because the dross you were giving us, I can tell you all, and I'm not going to mention the company, but it's one of these things like Meals on Wheels. And I see the advert on the alternative channels, and every time I do, I feel sick, because it reminds me of the hospital guys and the food they were. And I'm vegetarian, who viewers. And the menu, I had a nutritionist, 2 nutritionists come in to see me every now and then, because I wasn't eating. I thought, what's this? I can't eat this. It was one of these things. It came in a microwave type plastic thing, you know.
Yeah.
And they just put it down in front of you. It's nothing to do with the staff were always on the patient side and complaining, especially when I would kick off as well. You know, they were always talking about, and they would have constant meetings with the catering division to say, this isn't right, you're not giving and they weren't listening. So those people who have got these decisions, whether it be Glasgow City Council or Glasgow Healthcare, so get your acts together and support your staff, and really please improve the food, get the chefs back in there, reopen the kitchens and get daily stuff, because it was awful, absolutely awful. But because Farsight, I wasn't eating properly, there were days where I would go without something. Now, call me what you like, but these nutritionists came to me with menus, and I said, well, I'm vegetarian. So that got rid of 3 menus straight away,
Yeah.
Where's the vegetarian menu? It's the same every day, and I'm here 7 days a week. Oh, yes. Yeah. And then they gave me a halal one. Well, I wasn't going to look at that. Sorry, I wasn't, because I'm vegetarian. I'm not going to look at that because I don't agree with the process. So that went out the window. But it was because it was all the same thing. So every morning you get somebody coming in when you've had your breakfast, and there's a routine in the hospital as well, isn't there? 6 o'clock in the morning, they come and take your blood. Yeah. Morning, Justin. I go back to sleep. Okay. And then they wake you up at 8 o'clock with your breakfast, which was quite nice. I'd have my Weetabix, I'd have my yogurt, I'd have my fruit, orange juice, cup of tea. Nice. And then you start your day. 12 o'clock, it's lunch, and 5 o'clock, it's dinner. That's it. That's the routine. So as you're having your breakfast, or just after your breakfast, some perky person from the catering department will come along and say, here's your choices for your dinner tonight. It was always the same for me. I'd say, oh, what rot are you giving me today? It's terrible. But yeah, Farsight, the nutritionists had to put me on the Ensure at one point because I wasn't getting my protein. And they're like little bottles like that, guys. And they are like a milkshake, but not as nice. They were okay. They were tolerable. Chocolate and strawberry were my favorites. I couldn't really stomach the vanilla. Ugh. Raspberry was okay. And there was another one I couldn't stand. But they topped up your protein levels. Yeah. At one point also, they told me you're eating too many bits of chocolate. I never thought I'd hear in my life, so that was that. But yeah, I'm very aware of the Ensure as well. In fact, the first time I was allowed home Farsight, they gave me a bag full of them to make sure I was okay. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, the other thing that they introduced me to, I was talking about chemotherapy on a drip. But it wasn't the only chemotherapy I had to go through, everybody. And this was the culture shock. Because the Thin King, hello. Let me just bring this up as well. The Thin King's with us. I haven't seen you for ages. How are you? It's lovely to see you. Hi, JT in the panel. Long time for me, too long. It blooming well is. It's so good to see Whose Views back, and so good to see the stream and hear about your journey through this awful disease. It's great to see you fighting on. And it's good to see you too, isn't it, guys?
Yeah,
Certainly
definitely.
is.
Yeah.
See
Yeah.
you. Oh, good. Because you're somebody else that was mentioning to the guys just a couple of weeks ago. We haven't seen the thing King. I hope he's all right. And it's good to see you. Thank you for being with us. I'm dead chuffed. Bedweir is saying to us, I was sent home with a box of protein shakes after surgery and I couldn't stand the taste. They've improved the taste a lot since then. Well, marginally from from what I could tell. The chocolate one was okay, but then chocolate was all right. I was on a chocolate fix at the time. You know, I had to have Bedweir 3 a day, and that was hard going. That was because they're quite filling. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. What was I saying? Oh yes. Now you're not going to believe this. Now the whole thing about the leukemia is I didn't know in my ignorance, my blissful ignorance, and they were telling me that the leukemia was taking over my entire body. Now, just before Christmas, when I had left the BEATSON, and I was back in my local hospital getting my regular weekly checkup, my consultant at that point said, I want you to see something. And, you know, I had to go into these scans. I used to call it the donut, you know, this big round thing. And he'd slide you in there, right? And I had to go for one final one. And he said to me, I've got the results. I want to show you this. And he said, right, look at this. This is you before your treatment. And my body was riddled with orange blobs.
Wow.
All over me, right up to very near my heart. And that's how quickly the disease had progressed in such a short time, actually, from me being in my local hospital to getting to the BEATSON in Glasgow. Yeah. And the treatment started. And then he showed me the after effect and it had gone. The treatment had worked. But had they shown me that X-ray before, I think I would have flipped because I'm like, is that me? You know, it was everywhere, all over me. And it was really heavy in my spine. And that was one of the reasons why I had to have something called lumbar punctures. Now, if any of you in the audience have experienced the lumbar punctures, you'll know it's not the nicest thing that's ever going to happen to you in your life, because basically what happens with a lumbar puncture, and I had to have 8 of them, 8 of these things, is they inject the chemo into your spine. Now, if you're of a nervous disposition, look away now, because I'm going to show you a graph, a couple of pictures from the NHS website of what this is. So basically, there's the gentleman in the photograph there on the right-hand side doing exactly what I had to do and the position I had to assume. So every other week I was taken into a little room and I had to lean on this table with a pillow, just like that person there is doing. And I had to bend over as it was there, just like doing there. And then they would push around on my spine and then take a massive needle and inject it into my spine and put the chemo directly into my bone marrow. And I had to have 8 of these.
This is a bloody stupid question, but was it painful?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, the interesting thing about this is myself and my doctor at the BEATSON that were doing this eventually got ourselves into a pattern, because I had to have 8 all in a row. And I was counting them down and patting myself on the back. Oh, you're a brave boy. You're a brave boy. Because you do. Okay, they anesthetize you. Yeah. And then they spray you with this ice cold things. You're you know, because you know. Yeah. And then, but you still feel this, what I'm imagining, because you can't see it, and I never wanted to see it, but I could feel a bloody thick piece of metal going into my spine and into my bone marrow. But the thing was, we got ourselves into a pattern of doing this, and she was brilliant. By the end of it, we were down pat. We were in there for 10 minutes. You know, the routine was brilliant. You know, she would like, come on then, and I'd say, oh, okay, let's go, and we'd get in there, and she'd be like, whoop, and then we'd be out again. And you know, by number 6, Paul, we had it down pat. Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel it as much. I remember one day when I was due this procedure, Jane was with me, and she was saying, well, I'm going to go for a coffee then while you're doing this. And I said, okay, I won't be long. I'll be about 10 minutes. And I got back before she did from having a coffee downstairs. But again, it was one of those things you shared, because there were other guys that were coming along. They said, or they've told me I've got to have the lumbar puncture, and they knew I was getting it. And I was able to say, you just relax, because again, there's nothing you can do. If you have to have this, you have to have it, and you have to get on with it. So you have to bite the pillow and think of Britain, and you have to get on with it. And because I had to have 8, I sort of became, in my own head, a sort of little expert on this thing. And I was saying, well, just relax and just breathe, you know, do that sort of stuff. Bend over, make sure you're comfortable on the pillow, get your head in a nice position. Don't worry about the spray they put on you. It's ice cold. It'll be a shock, because it is. But you just breathe, you breathe. And I remember some of the fellas coming back to me saying, thank God you told us that, you know, thank you for telling me that, you know, it wasn't so bad. Jess is with us saying a lumbar puncture is bloody painful. And after the after effects are most unpleasant. You would not wish that on your worst enemy. I said that, Jess, at the time, and the stuff I'm going through now, I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy at all, because you don't, do you? I have to say, though, I actually, even though I reacted badly, Jess, to the chemo, this chemo going through the lumbar puncture, after the first 2, I didn't react badly to it at all. It was actually okay. Unpleasant.
So there was no adverse side effects from that, like the Hickman line, not the same kind of side effects. You feel sick afterwards, or
once. My last one, lumbar puncture number 8, happened to tie in within 48 hours of chemo number 4.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right.
And what happens is I had the last bit of chemo. It was the last bit of chemo first, I think it was. And I was sick all day the day after. And then I had the last lumbar puncture. Yeah. And I was sick all day the day after on that one as well. But again, PT Muzak saying to us, the bone marrow injections are the most painful, I believe. They are, and they're uncomfortable. You know, I remember sitting in the room I was in at the BEATSON for this. It's not done on the ward, obviously, it's private. And I'm leaning over, and I'm on this table, on the picture, I'm on the pillow on this table, and I'm looking out at the window, and I'm thinking, I've never seen that building in Glasgow before in my life. What's that building? And the nurse is going, what? But, oh, we don't know, actually. You know, what's that one there? Yeah.
Look over there. Yeah. Called a diversion. Yeah.
At one point, there was one thing where she said, right, I'm going in now, Justin. And I said, I don't want to know. Just do it. Don't tell me. Like in the Carry On film, where she finds him, you know. Just don't tell me. Just go through it. But that lumbar puncture, But again, if you're going to go through it, or if you know somebody that's going through it, all you can do for them is support. Just support them. If you're about to go through it, if you are going through it, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're about to go through it, there's nothing you can do. You're going to have it. You've got to trust the doctors around you. They know what they're doing. And yes, it's uncomfortable, but please believe me, it's for the best. It really is for the best. They're there to help you. And you get it over with. You get it done. However many courses you've got. I had to have 8 over so many weeks. I think it must have been about 10 weeks, actually.
So was it once a week you had that done?
It would not necessarily. It would depend on whatever else I was getting done as well, because they really didn't like to mix up all the treatments. And of course, you have to recover. After you've had chemo, you must recover. You've got to get the sickness out of the way if you're being sick. Then you've got to recuperate. Your body has to start healing. But then the next set of chemo comes through, toxic, poisonous nonsense. You've got to have that as well. And as you said, Ian, as well, your body is broken down so it can build up again. And it's not the nicest thing. See, I had 4 sets of the chemo going through the Hickman line and 8 sets going straight in through with the needle. That's a lot of chemo, a lot of chemo. John Steve's saying to us, I'd rather have the milk from a queen bat than that needle. If only, I would have rather have done that myself, actually. Thank you, Mark Reeves, for a super chat. Another one here. I've got to go to work and leave you guys now, but I'll see you tomorrow. JT, thank you. Paul and Ian, no tangents tonight.
We can save them.
Yeah.
No time. Yeah.
They take no effort.
Well, I was saying a slight tangential thing was at least never took your temperature with a daffodil. You were fine. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Or did they? I don't know.
What about the people coming in for you in a wheelchair? You know, make sure that they've got fingernails and they're not looking very waxy and plastic.
Those wheelchairs were, the guys that were taking me around. I mean, because you had to go from the Beatson to the Garden Naval, or you had to go wherever. Oh my God. I was like, I'm going to hit a wall, I'm going to hit a wall. They were brilliant. Because they were doing it all the time, constantly, every single day. The porters, they were fantastic. Yeah, I won't talk too much about temperatures. I mean, there was one instance where I was having a little bit of a problem, and the daffodil thing did occur to me. Let's put it that way. But usually the temperature was taken in the mouth all the time as well, because they come to you several times through the day. You have to get your temperature taken. You have to get your blood pressure taken. It's all part of the routine. It's all part of the routine there. It was absolutely amazing. I also want to say one of the other things about the Beatson that I have to talk about is that the Beatson has an element of it which is called the Wellbeing Centre. And it's a charity, and it's run by volunteers. The Wellbeing Centre for me, everybody, was so important, because when you were fit, when you were able, you could leave your bed, put a little sign on your bed saying, I'll go to the Wellbeing Centre, and you could go to this part of the hospital, which was luckily on my level, so it was down the corridor, where basically you could go and get a cup of tea, or you could get a coffee or a biscuit. You could chill out, you could read, you could do jigsaws, you could play chess, you could get a massage, you could get, I still today, at the moment, who viewers, I'm still having tingly feelings in my feet and my hands as hopefully the full functionality returns, because that's where your nerves are. So of course the chemo affects your nerves. So, if you've been watching our shows for a little while, you would have seen occasionally I've pressed the button and it hasn't worked properly. That's because my hands aren't working properly, or my feet are still tingly. So that's that. But you could get massage. I had hand massages, head massages, feet massages, for the ladies as well. Obviously, not so much of a thing for me, but I lost all the hair. Okay, but for a lady,
well, I'm jealous it's all coming back just about, really, to be honest.
It's terrible, isn't it? It's got to get cut. They would make wigs for the ladies, and they're gorgeous. They were brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I've got a couple of pictures for you. This is it. This is the Wellbeing Centre at the Beatson, and as I say, it's a godsend, really, because you can sit in the room there, you can chill out. You can just look through the marvellous windows they've got there onto the west end of Glasgow, where the hospital is situated. And it's just a very, very different environment, this part of the hospital, because it takes you away from the ward. And I remember saying to a lot of the nurses and a lot of the guys I met on the wards, we are so lucky here to have the Wellbeing Centre if we could get to it, because sometimes you were too ill to go, or you weren't allowed off the ward. But when you were allowed to go to it, we were so lucky to be able to go there, because 20, 30 years ago, people in these situations would have just been in the ward constantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days. That would have driven me mad. There was one instance, guys, I think after chemo 3 rather, where I had to get out because the walls were literally of the ward were closing in on me. It's very hard to describe what was happening, but I was like, I've got to get out of here, I've got to get out of here, got to get out of here.
You were probably getting stuck crazy, weren't you, really, to be honest, I'd imagine.
Yeah. And you're looking at Magnolia all the time, But with somewhere like this, which again is, as I say, it's run by volunteers, it's a charity. A lot of the tea, the coffee, the biscuits are given by local businesses, local hotels like the Hilton. Amazing stuff here. But it was a lifeline, because you could go there and the volunteers were, how are you? How are you doing? What have you? Here's tea, coffee. It's just fantastic. It's absolutely amazing. If you want more information on it, the website for the Beatson is thebeatson.scott.nhs.co.uk. That's the website I showed up before. But you can get more information on it there. A lot of you, as I'm finding out in the chat now, know about it already. I was totally oblivious to it before I got ill, and I'm very grateful to it. But it is fantastic. from being to say, oh, there's boy chairs and girl chairs because of the colours. Yeah, I never really
And
saw
that's the
that
way it should
before.
be. Yes.
I've never seen that. That's funny,
Yeah.
PB. That is
Yeah.
funny. Actually, the chairs, believe it or not, were fantastic because each one seemed to be different depending on what condition you were in. It was quite, I can't quite explain it, but there was sometimes I couldn't sit on a particular chair, so I'd go to another one and it was perfect. And then, oh, I can't sit on that one, so I'd go to this one and it was perfect. It's as though each one was molded to a different condition. You know?
Yeah.
It looks nice and clean, says Marie UK. JT, did it still have that awful hospital smell? No, it didn't, because it wasn't part of the, it was in the hospital, Marie. You know, as I say, it was just down from the ward I was in. It would have been 2 seconds if I'd been fit, but it was taking me about 5 to 10 minutes to walk to the thing, to be honest, at that point. So it was lovely, but no, because it wasn't. I have to say that I was told that the nursing staff were not allowed in it because it was your respite. It was taking you away from the regime of the day.
Right.
And gives you that change of scenery, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was there to try and take you away from what you were going through the rest of the day and through the night, you know.
Yeah.
Was it like a zero room?
Yeah, you could say that, Ian. Good reference there. Yeah, it was. Cool and dry. Mark saying to us, JT, was there a moment when you felt grateful for something mundane, a little thing you took for granted? Yes, often, and still to this day, actually, mate. I think, obviously, I was grateful for my family when I was in the hospital, and I would look forward to that moment where they were coming up every week. It was a real thrill, you know, and I would miss them from the moment they left me. And basically, you know, because I had to wait another week for the reasons I was speaking about before. And there was nowhere to stay. You know, there was nowhere to, I mean, this was a long period of time. There was nowhere to stay. The BEATSON do have family rooms, but at the end of my ward was the teenage cancer room, the teenage cancer ward, where the youngsters were, and they were going through the things I was going through and other cancers. And so some of them were coming from miles around. So of course, my mother, being my mother, wouldn't even consider asking about the family rooms in case the parents of the kids were going to be in there.
Yeah.
Because those youngsters, I didn't really see them, of course, because it was cut off, you know, quite rightly, because it's teenagers, you know, get on there. I knew when they were having a nice time. There was one night where myself and the guys on my ward were all chatting, and then suddenly get this massive smell. Ooh, what's that? What's that? And then we saw 2 guys from the local Domino's walking down the corridor with pizzas. And we said to one of the nurses, what's going on here? And she said, oh, the kids, it's the kids. They buy one, get one free from the local pizza place today. So they've all chipped in and they've got all these pizzas, loads of these pizzas. I was like, oh, what? We want to go down there.
And you think you can murder a cheese and tomato pizza? You're probably thinking, wait.
Yeah, well, I've been given slop, of course. You know, because my mum and my sister had to bring me, and my friend Jane occasionally as well. Well, all the time. They brought food in for me, but that, of course, that would only last so many days. So when you see it on a Tuesday, all these things coming in, I'm like, oh, what are they doing? What are they doing? It's amazing. So I think it was the little things, actually, Mark, that I took, that I'm grateful now. I'm grateful for. Well, I'm just grateful actually to be around. To be honest, because I was worried. There was a few days back there where I thought, you know, this is it. I'm not going to get through. And you do. I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for everybody that gets involved with this channel. I'm grateful for you guys getting involved with this channel. I'm grateful that we've got this channel because it's helped an awful lot. You know, coming back and putting the shows together, it's actually very therapeutic. You know, doing the research for headlines, getting all those sorts of, looking forward to doing the live streams, because I know you guys are going to be there and you're all going to have an opinion or you're going to want to talk. It's brilliant. So I'm very grateful for all of that. And I'm grateful that I set this channel up back in 2023. So yeah, there's lots of, you know, it's nice to be able to, my mum was saying just a couple of weeks ago, because of where I live, there's not much to do. There's not many places to go to because I'm not in a city. So when I say, can we go out and, you know, can you take me out? We end up in a coffee shop. And eventually she said, I'm getting fed up of going out to coffee shops. But for me, it was great because we're spending time together. We're going out.
Yes.
That I treasure right now. And I look forward to spending that family time, whether they're coming to my house or I get taken to my mum's house or we go out for a coffee. It means the world now. Those little moments. It means the world.
You must have been relieved though when you got home, though. That must have been wonderful, was it?
It was. Can I just say hello to Cute Pyro in the chat as well? Hope you're well, JC. Yes, thank you, mate. It's lovely to see you, Cute Pyro. Thank you for popping in. Yeah, I mean, what happens as well is that this might make you laugh, who views, but I can't remember what week it was at the Beatston where they said to me they were going to let me out to go home for a few days. And I'm like, pardon? No, you're not. I want this treatment and I want it all in one. And I'm staying here until it's done. Because, of course, I'm ignorant. I don't realize what it all means. You know, the fact that, you know, it's going to take time to get the chemo in. You've got to prepare from after some chemo. You're also getting the secondary chemo straight into your spine, blah, blah, blah. And I remember saying to the gorgeous and wonderful Tracy, the boss, the head nurse, and she said, you know, and I said, oh, no. And luckily, my mum was there either that day or the day after, and she sat with us and explained why it was a good idea to release patients for a few days to go home, because you get institutionalized.
Yeah.
She was bloody right, because if I had stayed any longer, I think I would have got further into the routine. So my friend Steve came and picked me up all these times I was going home, and it was I went home, and the first time I got home, it had been the first time in my mother would be able to tell you, I can't remember. It was a long time. I hadn't been to my house. And we got to my house and I just broke down. I was in tears. And I don't really remember what else was going on, but my mum basically said to me that I said something along the lines, I'd never thought to see the house again. And, or, you know, I was complaining about the state of my garden because I'm a big gardener. And of course I hadn't done any gardening last year and it's a bloody mess.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got to wait for my energies before I can get out there again and start doing anything. So hopefully by the end of the summer, I'm ready. I'm okay. Because I'm not quite cooked yet. I'm not quite there. And then I went back, and again, huge thank you to the St. John Ambulance volunteer drivers, because they would pick me up and take me back to Glasgow and then come back here where they live. And I had about, I remember we talked as a team. We all talked, didn't we? We all got together.
Yeah, we did.
And we had a little chat and we had a catch up. Don't really remember what we talked about, I have to be honest, because I think I'd just done a chemo, hadn't I? I think.
I think it was we had a general touching of base. And I think not wanting to be presumptuous, but I think it was good to have that sense of normality for you. The fact that we were all still here and there was nothing changing with the channel, you know, it was waiting for you. And when you got back, we would pick up where we left off. And I think you needed that, JT, to be quite honest. I mean, you did share with us that you had been going stir crazy in the hospital. So it was obviously good for you to get out, but you know, touching those familiarity points, I think, of which of course our ugly mugs were some of those familiarity points.
I don't really remember what we talked about, but I remember being very excited to see you all and to chat and to catch up. And it was great to do that. It was absolutely fantastic to do that. And I do remember that, but that was one of the times I was home. And I think I was allowed home 3, maybe 4 times. I can't remember. And I remember the last time I was home was very near, and I didn't know at the time, it was very near to the time where they were going to discharge me. Because I got back to the hospital and I got back to the ward and you know, went through more chemo in the spine with the lumbar punctures, And then they were saying to me, you're going to have a fourth round of chemo, to which I was like, ooh, okay, fine. Okay, let's do what we need to do. And I was sort of in this pattern now of doing this. But it was at that point that I realized how important it was to not stay in the hospital and to do what I was being told and to keep my mouth shut, because they knew best.
Yeah.
And it was a case of like, it was absolutely the right thing to do. So again, if anybody in that situation, if they come to you and they say, you're going to have a bit of time at home, you take it. You don't question it. You don't argue. It's very important. You've got to go back and get some normality. Because when you are discharged, you've got to go back to that. And I think had they actually listened to me and done it my way and kept me there for 3 months non-stop, or just over 3 months non-stop, it would be more difficult coming home.
Yeah.
You know, because you're in that hospital routine, you're in that bed, you're in that comfort zone at that point. You know, it's like, I suppose it's like it must be for people that are doing His Majesty's pleasure, and they can't adapt to life when they come out. You know, so it's really important.
I think being home, though, from my own experience being in hospital, like I said, not as severe as what happened to yourself, but I remember coming out of hospital and being relieved to come home, and that's when I started healing, because I was back in familiar surroundings and I felt better, and I was getting better because I was back somewhere I recognised with my family, my wife, etc., and all that kind of stuff. So I did feel that's a great place to be, because you know you're kind of starting to get better, which was great, you know.
Yes, and I didn't realise that at the time, Paul. I think it must have been on my third visit home where I suddenly realised they are confident enough to allow me to go home for a few days.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic. You know, and it does make it easier when you're finally discharged and you're coming home. Yeah, it's great that we've got timescales here. Paul and Third Doctor Ian, thank you for keeping JT's channel going for him.
I'll just apologise now for the ropey content, okay? And
it was great fun though. It was just a little bit different, wasn't it? And
it was, but we knew something was missing, you know.
Oh
so,
God, yeah. I mean, the absolute the linchpin was missing, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got to also shout out to in fairness and balance, I've also got to shout out to Michael as well, because we did have the little diversion, which was the discovered missing episode with Eugene and Milton,
which was brilliant, wasn't it? I love that one
in the 1960s. That was great fun. So you know, Michael was integral to that. But yeah, I mean, that's where the Tangent Twins were really born, wasn't it, Paul?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And by God, it saved us.
There's a spin-off series here.
And at this point as well, I have to say a big thank you to Lee, because my friend Lee was looking after the boys there. He was setting the studios up and running it behind the scenes. So thank you very much.
I have to apologise to Lee for listening to an inane drivel for 2 or 3 hours.
God, what a trooper he was.
He was, That's a professional for you. Yeah.
And he's now joined us on the panel for our Star Trek shows, because he's a great big Trekkie. So that's great. Dalek Shalom is saying, Paul and Ian were great stand-ins while you had treatment. I don't think any other channels. I have it. Oh, I have rocks like them. Oh, that's nice to know. Moondust, Paul and Ian did a great job, but very happy when the 3 amigos were back. Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Darren Reed saying to YouTube, Ian and Paul did a sterling job. From my point of view, guys, it was I'm in hospital, and I would try and tune in on the Sundays, but I couldn't watch the whole thing because the energy just wasn't there, and I sleep like this. But the fact that you guys were all together with Paul and Ian meant so much to me. Because I knew, you know, we had an audience on a Sunday night, especially, and it was great to know that you were all still coming together and talking about whatever you were talking about, whatever issue was going on with Doctor Who or whatever. It was fantastic. It was brilliant, and I'm so glad that you stuck with us. And again, thank you to everybody for subscribing and staying with us and continuing to be with us. And I can't thank you enough. And I just want to thank everybody for the messages that were coming through at the time when I was at the BEATSON and going through all the treatment. It meant the world to me. And I really, really mean that. It meant the world to hear from you. It's just nice, as a lot of you will know in that situation, it's just nice to know that there's people there thinking of you and sending you their thoughts and their prayers. It means the world. It really does. And I think with this channel as well, it's just so lovely to know that we've got a great community that join us. And when I say on shows, I look forward to every live show, I genuinely mean it, because you're all there, and I know you're going to be there, and I know you're going to be chatting, and I know you're going to be saying stuff and being part of it. It's just fantastic. So
it's easy to say, isn't it? But it really is something special. The team that we have here, and the sort of like extended family with the viewership. I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at it on a Sunday night, when your show tops 3 hours and you've still got over 200 people tuned in, and it's 11 o'clock at night, that is saying something to our viewership. And it's thanks to all of them, because it is absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. Let's get into I just want to say to Jess, because Jess mentioned before that when you come out of hospital and did I have any problems with my own bed? Oh my God, I did, Jess. I couldn't settle for day. And also because you're on chemo, one of the side effects I had of chemo, there's a few to this day, the dreams were unreal. Absolutely unreal. You could turn it around and call it a Beatles movie. It was absolutely unreal, my dreams. A lot of them I can't remember. The last dream I do remember, and this will amuse the staff at the BEATSON, when I'd been discharged from the BEATSON, I got home on the Monday night, having been discharged on the Monday afternoon, and I was ill from the chemo. I was ill, and that continued into the Tuesday. I was ill. But the dreams were all about the staff at the BEATSON. And they were all crowding around me, all of them in the one room. And like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But the dreams were, and I had problems for the first week and a half, Jess, trying to acclimatize to my own bed. Now I've got a massive, big king size bed, huge. And I'm at the very end of it for a couple of weeks like this.
Yeah.
Because I got so used to the smallness of the hospital beds. And also because I still had the Hickman line attached to me. The Hickman line was taken up by my consultant in my local hospital in December. And that was something. I thought putting it in was bad. Taking it out was something else as well. And I'm calling him for everything because I've got that sort of relationship with him, haven't I, Dr. Thomas? I love you. And, you know, it's no relation. He's taking this, he said, oh, you won't feel a thing. I said, no, bro, I can bloody see it. Cover me up. Again, they had to put this makeshift towel or something over me. Like, oh, my God. And I said, well, make sure there's no blood. Oh, there won't be any blood. There won't be any blood. Bloody liar. There was blood everywhere. And he was desperately trying to clean it up before I could see it. I was like, I hate you. It was so funny. It was terrible. That poor fella. I was like, I can't stand you. What are you doing to me? It was brilliant. But it came out eventually, so I don't have it now. He said to me, oh, you're going to have a little scar. I'm like, what? You told me there was no scar. So I've got this little mark here. I can feel it, actually. Got a little mark there. Which I'm never going to let him forget. Funky's asking me, was I nervous about the first stream after everything? No, I wasn't. I absolutely was.
You were
not.
Desperate to get back, weren't you? You were, I could tell you're itching to get back. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I was. And actually, I'll tell you a secret now, everybody. I was sort of behind the scenes for at least 2 headlines with the guys before I came back for the launch of the War Between the Land and the Sea show. And I was desperately trying to get my fingers, and Paul was calling me Uncle Sydney because of my Uncle Sydney. Paul was calling me Uncle Sydney. So in those episodes, that's me coming back and figuring out how my hands are going to work with all the gimmickry on the platform. So that was great to come in and, you know, see that everybody was still there. And thank you again for all your comments and asking for me. So I was not nervous at all. I was absolutely delighted to get back, and just in time as well, because the War Between the Land and the Sea came on. That took us to Christmas, and now we're in the new year, and we've got loads of stuff planned for you on the channel throughout this year. Kundra Mark saying to me, JT, looking forward to how are you going to live life differently, with a hint of caution or more intensely seize the day? That's a brilliant question. That's a brilliant question. And I have to tell you, it's something I've had a conversation with myself, because I'll be honest with you all, it's in there. Now, In January 2026, my consultant gave me the R word being remission, which I've been longing to hear for ages. And so when he told me you're in remission, it was, as you can imagine, it's a massive relief to hear that word. It's a massive relief. However, it's still in my head. And I said to him, can this come back? And he looked at me and he said to me, it's unlikely. But when you get to 2 years, you can have a party. So typical of him. He's such a doctor. You never care. You never care. You're heavy-handed, you know. But it was a matter of fact, aren't they, some of these doctors? And he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. But it's in my head, cool and dry, and it's always going to be. And those of you in the chat who will have this, was just, you'll know what I mean. It's not going to go away. And every day I think about, but you can't dwell on it, and you can't stay on it, because if you do, you're gone, bang, you know. You've got to get on with it. So right now, no, I think I'm going to seize each day. Basically, I'm not working at the moment at the guys. You know, I'm not working at the moment because I can't. My strength is still not 100% back, but I'm itching to get back to work if I can. If they give me the clear to say yes, you can go and work now. Who knows? But I'd love to be able to do that and go back and do some work. But no, I think with all this in hindsight and looking forward as well, I'm just going to seize the day. I've got so many things I still want to do. I mean, we're talking about meeting up for the Who's Views thing. We want to go and see Neil Cole at his science fiction museum over in Allendale. I want to go and see my friends in Blackpool. Talking about going to London to see my friends in London and go and see the ABBA thing again. I've seen it once, but they've changed it, so I've got to go again. You know, there's so much I want to do over the next couple of years. And you've got to hold on to that sort of stuff. And of course, I've got loads of plans for this channel this year.
You just have to look at the channel, all the things you've put up already. You've been very busy. Yeah.
You really have big plans, haven't you?
Yeah. We know what we're doing in March. We know what we're doing sort of in April. We definitely
in March 2027 you're talking about. Yes.
we definitely know what we're doing in May. May is all sorted. May's sorted. Not worried about May. We've got some stuff going. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, and just be grateful. I'm going to be grateful for every day. Frankie Standish saying, you're right, JT, just go day by day. That's all you can do. And especially at the moment, because I'm still cooking. I'm not 100% yet. I'm still on the way there. I still get lightheaded. And an incident I had today as well, where I said, oh my God, oh wow, what's happening here? So I'm still not quite right yet. So it's just taking every day as it comes, meeting up with you guys as often as we can, as far as I'm concerned. You might get fed up on my ugly mug. And just taking each day as it comes and just getting on with it and seeing how it goes. Sheila B was there, I think, saying, can she come to our party? Absolutely. Just Jordan is in the chat.
Oh, lovely.
Fantastic.
I am so pleased. Jordan Marv now. I've just seen you. But Sheila B in the devotion saying, can I come to your party? Yes, you can. Just Jordan, or Jordan Marv as you are now. There she is, saying that would be fab in response to Funky. Hello to you. We've been worried because we haven't heard from you for such a long time. How's your dad? Because the last time you were here or we saw you, he was in hospital. How are you both? Are you okay? I am so pleased you're there. That's made my day, actually, now. Not just doing the show and having you all with me, but seeing Just Jordan with us as well. How fantastic is that?
That is
lovely. Good.
Frankie Standish is reminding us of the Christmas special in December. I'm not really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Let's not put a damper on the evening, for goodness sake. Okay, yes.
When you had your hallucinating dreams, JT, was one of them where RTD wrote a decent script? or were they not that
We're getting to the realms of fantasy there, Ian, definitely, yes.
Yeah, I apologise. Question withdrawn.
Yeah, but it wasn't that much of a fantasy, but they were on the way. We're talking about Pet Shop Boys surrealism with my dreams after the chemo. Honest to
Yellow
God.
Submarine type stuff. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's why I said you could turn it
Yeah,
into a Beatles movie.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they were psychedelic. They were
Yeah.
real 90s hippie trippy stuff. You know. Darren Reed is saying to JT, that loft needs us to turn up, carry on regardless style and clean up the cobwebs. I miss going upstairs to the Doctor Who Love to Broadcast. I can't yet do it. Obviously, with it being a loft, there's a hatch with a stair thing. What do you call them? Ladder.
Ramsey ladders, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, Ramsey ladder. Yeah.
You pull it down, and I don't have the strength yet to. It sounds ridiculous, but I haven't got the strength to pull the thing down.
Well, they're quite heavy, aren't they? They're quite heavy.
They are, yeah. My mate has to come round and do it if I need anything up there for research for the shows, and my sister will plod up there going, "Where is it?
You could have it permanently down, and then one of those electric chairs going up the side of it, like
a stand-up stair lift. Other stair lifts are available. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
We could do, couldn't we?
Yeah.
We could
as
do.
long as it doesn't break halfway. You're all
I
right.
miss this is a little behind the scenes thing for the audience who don't know about this. I miss the fact I could hear you coming up the stairs when you go down the stairs.
Yeah, that's
before
right.
You come on, little clatter as you go down the stairs. Yeah.
Yeah. You know. I was coming back. Change the subject. No, it's yeah. But it's got to the point where I can't remember what I've got in my collection because I haven't seen it literally for months. And I say my poor sister and my mate had to go up, and they brought down. I said I want all the collection box sets I've got on the standard, so I'm not up to date. So they come down, and then I had to send my sister up to go and get various Doctor Who magazines, and she had to go through all of them for various things that we're doing now, the 1989 show and some other stuff we've got coming up.
I hope she's not made a mess. She'll be in trouble if she has.
But one day I'll get back up there. I'm hoping it's going to be sooner rather than later.
What if she's taken stuff out of boxes?
And they're all all the wrong order.
Oh my goodness!
Take,
can you imagine?
take the DVD from Hartnell and put it in a Troughton box.
Do you know what?
My wife does it all the time. She moves them about out of order from just to annoy me. Yeah.
She was up there for quite a while. My sister likes the Cybermen. She always had them. So she's been playing with my Cybermen action figures. I won't be happy.
I hope she's not taking them out of the box. Oh,
I know. Imagine that. She's watching this. Hello, you're all right.
Trouble. Trouble.
Yeah, no, yeah. Just Jordan. Now Jordan Marv's him. Rather miraculously, Dad is home. Things were touch and go, but he's doing well. Thank you. I'm so pleased.
Oh, that's good to know.
I'm so pleased. Pass on our best wishes to your dad. Give him all our love, and to you as well. It's great to see you as part of this show. Thank you for being with us. We've given you a couple of shout outs. Isn't it lovely? And everybody's there. Welcome, Just Jordan. She's saying to us, wow, there's so many messages. Thank you all. I'm okay. It's been difficult and stressed, but I'm counting blessings. Good for you.
Good.
It's lovely to see you. It really is. Look, that's made my day.
Yeah.
Frankie Standish is saying, elevate, JT, elevate. That is so funny. I like that. That is really funny. Yeah. So where I've been now. So yeah, as I say, the Hickman light, I was discharged from the Beatson, I think in November, guys. I think it was early November.
Yeah,
I can't really remember.
Because I was going to come and see you before you left.
That's right.
You let me know. I was going to say, I'll try and come before you go. And then you left, I think, late morning, early afternoon. I was going to come at 4 o'clock that day. It was Monday. It was the Monday. That's right,
I remember that. Yeah. Because I got home. Do you know what? It was really lucky because, as I say, it's a bit of a trip. And my mate had come to pick me up from the Beatson in Glasgow and was bringing me home. And in hindsight, we were so lucky because the trip home was okay. I'm quite zonked because I'd only had the chemo the day before, so I'm quite zonked. And I got home and I'm still a bit sort of like, wow, okay, this is it now. And you have to start transitioning to the fact you're not going back. From up until January, I thought it was on a bit of elastic. I thought at any point they're going to pull me back to the Beatson. That was where I was, the stage I was at. I thought, and my mum had to keep saying to me, you're not going back. Relax, you're home. It's really weird. It was really weird. And I remember I had this overnight bag ready for when I was visiting home, because at any point I could have, they told me, if this happens or this happens, you go to the hospital straight away. Yeah. And I thought, it could happen at any time. So I had this overnight bag ready. And I remember just before Christmas, I was mortified when my mother emptied it and put all my stuff away. And what have you done that for? Because you're home now. Yeah. what? Well, I couldn't quite understand. Like, why have you done that? Oh my God, what am I going to do if I have to go back to? You're not going back to the hospital. They don't want you. They're not going to keep you. I was mortified. It shows you where I was at, you know, because that bag would still be there today if she hadn't emptied it.
Yeah, someone else is in your bed now. You can't use it. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yes, that's where we got up to, and then I'm at the point now where my consultants at the hospital. I don't have to go to the hospital every week like I had to for a little while there. I do have to see my GPs occasionally, which is fine. The next time I'm scheduled to see a consultant is in May, which is amazing, isn't it? It's fantastic. There are,
and that'll be about 6 months then since you left the hospital by that point. Yeah.
And I'm trying to adjust to the fact that, you know, there are things not on tap for me as such. Like last night, I have to tell you, last night after the show we did last night, my leg was sore, and I immediately thought, I'm going to the hospital. I'm going to the hospital, and I'm going to say, can I get a blood test? And you've got to scan it, because that's how it started for me last year.
Yeah.
You know, and I said this today to my mum, and she said, don't be silly. Don't be silly. But it's still there. It's still, and I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get over that. You know,
you kind of have to build your confidence, don't you? And that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It really, really is. Marie UK is saying that my mother sounds like a hoot. She is. And her and her sister, my auntie, who I also want to say thank you, because my auntie came up before, oh God, when was it? Was it before Christmas? I can't remember the timescales. It might have been before Christmas. It might have been the other side of Christmas. I cannot remember. But she came up and she stayed with us. She stayed with me for a couple of weeks. And she was brilliant as well. She was absolutely fantastic. In fact, it was before Christmas. And yeah, it was lovely to see her. So thank you to my Auntie Barb, my mum's sister.
Lee told me a great story. He came to visit you, and your auntie was like, she was bouncing the door basically. And who are you? Apparently, he told me that was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the night he came around and I was asleep.
Right, it may have been. Yeah.
And
she no way he was getting in. No,
that was it. Yeah, no, no way. Yeah.
Checkpoint Charlie. There was no way.
Yeah.
I woke up a couple of hours after he'd been, and my auntie said, some fella called Lee came around for you, and I was not coming in. Yeah. My sister is with us, saying to me that was the beginning of November. Thanks, darling. Yeah, the beginning of November that my aunt was with us. That's right. There we go. So that's my sister, everybody. And Timescales is here saying people will watch this in the future when in similar situations and learn and get relief from this story. Thanks to the generosity of JT in sharing this story. Oh, well, thank you for that, Timescales. I appreciate that. I hope so, because I hope the message that I'm trying to get out to people is, if you find yourself in this situation, you've got to give yourself the understanding and you've got to give yourself the time. And the biggest thing I can say to you is you've got to trust the professionals around you. You do effectively, as I learnt, you put yourself in their hands, because that's all you can do. And you've got to learn to be able to trust yourself, to trust them. And again, for the people, everybody I met at the BEATSON in Glasgow, I'm so grateful to every single one of you there. Absolutely, every single one of you. I will never forget you. Thank you so much for getting me through the biggest shakeup in my life, as you will all understand, as those of you who are going through this will understand. It's the biggest trauma in your life when you're suddenly told you've got leukemia, cancer, whatever, and your world stops.
Yeah.
But I will never forget them. And at this point, I just want to say to everybody that donated to those charity things on the Facebook page, that, you know, when it comes to your birthday and this thing pops up, doesn't it, saying, it's your birthday soon, do you want to do a fundraiser type thing for a charity? I did one for the BEATSON, and I want to thank everybody that donated, because we've had over £200. Thank you so much. Wow. That's going to the BEATSON. So the BEATSON, for the staff at the BEATSON, you'll be getting that through. I don't know how it works with the Facebook thing. I haven't heard anything about it yet, but there's some money coming for you, with love and thanks from me and from everybody that's donated. A huge thank you so much for that. I really, really mean it. And to every single one of you. Really mean it. And I know it'll mean a lot to them as well. Again, if you want some more information and a bit more about where I stayed, you can go and look at beatson.scott.nhs.co.uk. On top of that as well, you know our email address. If you want to get in touch with me, you can. It's whosviews1@gmail.com. Anytime. It might take me a little bit of time to get back in touch with you, but I've got more time now. So I tend to be on the emails an awful lot during the day. I will get there. I will get there. Jess Corbin saying the Beatson Western Scotland Cancer Centre is a specialised cancer care centre in Glasgow, Scotland. Absolutely is. And again, I was so bloody lucky to get there. Janine, my sister, is saying your Cybermen are all over the floor.
Yeah.
But it's like the Raston Warrior robot all over again.
Yeah. I bet that one's come out of the box, the Raston Warrior robot, to do that as well. Yeah.
She took them out the packaging. Oh, we'll be having words tomorrow. Oh, we'll be having words tomorrow. Cool and dry. Marcus saying to us, JT, my mother kept a patent overnight bag for 11 years after she had cancer, and dare anybody touch it. I can relate to that. I can relate to that, and I know what she was meaning because it's always there. 11 years. Gosh. So my mother's watching this. And she emptied it before Christmas. It could have been there for 11 years, Mum, if you hadn't gone in there. And just, she didn't tell me either, guys. She just did it.
It's hard to let go, I'd imagine, but it's letting go is important. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it was incredible. And you have to do that. You have to do that. I think I'm now getting used to that, not having to report to the hospital every week. One thing this has done for me, though, I'm not frightened of hospitals anymore. I don't want to go and see one again. I don't want to go through that again. It is in the back of my head. I'm nearly 60 now. I don't think I would want to go through that again. It was bad enough.
You said you were 28 the other night. Then what are you talking about?
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, yes. Just the tongue. But yeah, I wouldn't want to go through that again, honestly. But I think I had it lucky. I think about the young ones that go through that. And it's not just, this thing can get you at any age. I've actually heard of very young kids, 6, going through this.
Yeah.
And what they have to go through. And I know what they've got to go through. The lumbar punctures, the Hickman line, the chemo, you know. But yeah, I mean, goodness me. Let's just hope they come up with some more, as we were talking about, Ian, some more advances in this. PT Muzak is saying to us, you are so inspirational. Thank you, PT Muzak. I'm so glad you did the show tonight, and I'm glad I've managed to watch it live. And I'm glad that you've all been with us. And thank you again for your support. Thank you for being with us on the channel. And thank you for just being brilliant, the lot of you, because it's fantastic. And I honestly mean it. Thanks to the Whotastic panel and everybody that's part of the shows as well. I love getting together with everybody and we're talking about it and we're sharing our passion. And well, it wouldn't be the same without you all, quite frankly. I'm very proud of this channel. I'm very proud to have everybody with us.
The same right back at you, JT. Really,
yeah.
Because I mean, from a personal perspective, I didn't know Paul. I didn't know the goddess Kirsty. You know, Kirstalicious. I didn't know her. I didn't know Bedweir. I didn't know Emilio. Anybody, George, anybody, Michael, anybody associated with this channel, didn't know at all. And absolute dear and valued friends, all of you. And that's because of you, JT.
Oh, bless you.
You asked me to talk about that ridiculous concert in Wales, and then asked me back, and it's been fantastic. I feel such a part of something.
Well, at least you were invited. I badgered them like hell to get on this channel. Yes.
Oh, bless. But yes, so yeah, what was I saying? So thank you to everybody. It's fantastic. And again, thank you so much to everybody that looked after me. I want to say a huge thank you to my mum and my sister, to my friend Jane, to my auntie, to my friends. Thank you so much. It means well. Thank you to all the staff at the Beatson. I can't thank you enough. I've said it over and over again. I am never going to forget them, guys. You know, it's just amazing and how brilliant they are. And I really want to big up the Beatson. It's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And how brilliant they are, professional and gorgeous. And Amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's good to see RD Animation Films and Model Builds in the chat as well. How are you? Good to see you. And Robert Payne is saying, we all appreciate everyone who helped you through this, JT. Yeah. PT Music has given us some good news. He's going to see Epic, the Elvis Presley in concert at the cinema. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. I'll just show you this PT Music. My sister, my mum and I, because my mum's a huge Elvis fan, a couple of years back, we went to see the Elvis tour. We went to see the Elvis. It was Elvis on tour. And it was all done on a big screen. It was that one. You know, it was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic. And Priscilla Presley came out on the stage, and everybody went, wow. She got a massive, it was in Glasgow, and they got a massive round of applause. She was brilliant. She thanked us all for being there. They were promoting the London Philharmonic Orchestra albums with Elvis, which were a massive hit. I love those as well, which started actually a whole trend of various people, whether they're living or dead, working with the Philharmonic orchestras. You know, you've had all sorts, and they're all brilliant because they rework versions, but they're fantastic.
Yeah.
But I enjoy that concert. What was that? Was that Sheila B? Sheila B saying she hopes to see it in Manchester on Sunday. Hey, what about headlines? Yes.
Oh.
You'll have to take us with you. Oh, yes. What else we got? And Bill saying to us, thanks to you, JT, whose views has become an essential part of my life.
Oh.
That's fantastic. We do get that from people saying, it's great, and that means the world as well. So thank you very much. I want to thank you all for joining us for this show tonight, this live stream tonight. Really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to me waffle on and sharing my experience of leukemia with you all, and what happened before and after the diagnosis. Where I am at the moment, I just want to let you know, I am in remission. Touch wood, that's going to go for it. Yeah, and I'm taking every day as it comes. There are certain issues I still have, I'm not going to lie to you, but getting on with it and moving forward. And thank God that we've got a lot of shows planned for you this weekend. Tomorrow, we're going to be back with our review of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Yes, looking forward to that. I'm going to say it now out of context, but it's probably one of the best science fiction films in history. Yeah. I cannot wait till we're all here back tomorrow, live at 8 o'clock. On Sunday, of course, live at 8 is Headlines, your big show. And on Monday, we're back with Blake 7 and our review of Aurak, episode 13 of series 1. And then on Wednesday, we've got a show that the team were really keen to do, even though I've never seen an episode of Life on Mars at all. I cannot wait until they're telling me all about that series as they celebrate 20 years of Life on Mars on Wednesday evening, live at 8 as well. So we've still got a bit more to come for this month. And then we're into Mars. Yeah. Bill Eldey's love child is with us going, did you see that? Did that come up? It didn't come up. Let's put that on. Where is he? There he is. Gone. You've got to do it. You've got to do it, haven't you? You've got to say it that way. Oh, I've got so much to say. I've got so much to say about William Shatner tomorrow, guys. Brilliant performance. Thank you, Jordan. Just so saying, touches all the wood. I can. Jordan Marv. I can't get used to that. What else we got in the chat as well? John Steed is saying, Mrs. Peel, we are needed. Good night, everyone. Yeah. Darren is saying good night to everybody. Cool and Dry is saying Kirsty is our Scottish Barbie. She'll love that. She will love it. Jason Parker, thank you for sharing your story, JT. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being there to listen to it. I really, really appreciate it. I look forward to Who's Views every time, says Marie UK. Brilliant. Steve Braddock is saying it's the best Star Trek film ever. And Dalek Shalom is going to watch it tonight to get ready for it. Matt Enspiel saying to us, thank you for sharing this, JT. Thank God you are in remission. And thank you for everyone for being so bloody brilliant. Big hug to you, JT. Thank you, Matt. And back to you as well. You keep in touch with what you're going through as well, please. And everybody else as well. If you're going through something like this, drop me an email if you haven't already. A lot of you already have. I can't tell you how many have already got in touch over the last few months saying you're going through something similar or have been through something similar. But you know where I am. whosviews1@gmail.com. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. I know you're all excited. about this. Jordan is saying to us, just Jordan is fine. Thank you for that. Good, because I won't be able to change it. It's like PTA. Paul Ashworth is now Paul Ashworth, and I keep calling him PTA. I got used to all your names. So there we go. What can I say? Thank you for joining us tonight. I want to thank Paul and Third Doctor Ian for being with us as well. Thank you, guys. I really enjoyed tonight. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so have I. Yeah. Thank you.
It's been a privilege to be part of this.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So a little bit of therapy for me as well.
Yeah.
And I hope that, for others, it might help. It might help because it's a scary time. It's a really scary time. And if you are going through it, or if you're about to go through this, get in touch. whosviews1@gmail.com. Again, to the Beatson, the staff, everybody at the Beatson in Glasgow, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say anymore. But thanks, amazing people, absolutely amazing. Until we see you again next time here on Whose Views, as usual, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're not new to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed. Please share the hell out of this video. Let's get it out there. Let's see what we can do. Give us a thumbs up. Leave some comments for us. All the usual stuff. We have lots coming up for you on Whose Views. I'm so excited about some of the stuff we've got coming up for you. I can't wait to get my grubby little protuberances on it all and get it out to you and see what the guys make of it all as well. So please join us as usual for that. Star Trek 2 tomorrow. Headlines on Sunday. We'll see you then. From Paul, from Third Doctor Ian, myself, thank you so much, everybody, for being part of the show, for being part of the channel. We'll see you soon. Ta-ra, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.